Hello!
Howdy!
There's crap on my glasses.
There's always crap on your glasses. The title of that picture is just, I think I might have a problem.
It's not a problem. I don't want that bag.
You would.
I don't see why I wouldn't.
I don't either. Ooh, Funimation acquired the rights to Free. That'll be interesting.
Free! Swimming! Shirtless boys without nipples!
Oh, they lack
Hey!
nipples?
Yeah, they don't
I
have
did not
nipples.
know that. Oh, you're right. They don't have nipples.
They have abs for miles, but no nipples.
Because equal
It's just an-
opportunity?
I suppose it's just an easy thing to omit from the body. Like, unless you're addressing them, I suppose they're not necessary.
Yeah. Well, it probably just simplifies the character animation designs to not have nipples that they have to draw in.
You gotta make sure they always have those abs. But yeah.
Well, yeah, they're high school swim team dudes or whatever, so, they're built like brick shit houses.
Abs, 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 abs. Abs!
Beautiful abs. Kiki's all
Beautiful
classy.
abs in homoerotic situations.
So, beach volleyball and Top Gun?
Oh, my phone's not off.
You have a phone call. Or something.
That's actually my, Hangouts message sound on my phone.
Oh.
There's still crap on my glasses. Ah!
Hello and welcome to this nipple-free episode of the Super Happy Fun Jabbertron Tea Party with Kiki and Bones. Break out the fancy tea set and lady fingers and enjoy.
Alright. So, hi, Bones.
Hi, Kiki.
Hi. Wait, you said I was fancy. What was fancy?
The mason jar you're drinking tea out of.
Like,
It's like,
most of
oh.
her glasses are this.
I was like, going fancy tonight, eh? Got the mason jars out. Somehow I blame you for my sudden horrible addiction to Tumblr.
I feel like you should blame me for that, as I constantly link you to Tumblr or say, hey, look at this thing I just blogged on my blog. Oh my god.
Little by little, I'm subscribing to more and more things just because Tumblr's interesting for funny GIFs, art, interesting, topics. Like that black girl who feels like she shouldn't watch anime because it's not the thing for her, quotations, to do. I was like, oh my god, who told you that? Tell them to shove it up their ass.
Yes.
What
Tumblr.
you do on your own time is your own damn business.
My Tumblr dashboard is full of kittens and porn right now. Because it's just that time of day.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how's that different from any other night?
Well, it's not always kittens. Sometimes it's puppies.
Yeah, and sometimes it's like random. I like it when you get like just a run of like random gender equality shit. That's like by far my favorite. This random person subscribed to my blog, and so I thought she was pretty interesting, so I subscribed to her. So it turns out that she's like a giant Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan. Like, she's been posting like nonstop Ninja Turtles stuff. She seems really cool and everything, but I'm just like my whole Tumblr feed is just nothing but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie stuff.
Oh my god, I saw the trailer for the new Michael Bay film, and I.
It looks okay.
You're lying to yourself.
What? I'm not easy to impress, and I'm like, it looks all right.
I don't have high hopes, but that's okay. I enjoyed the TV show, so that's fine. At least there's something good out there. Like, seriously, more people. I mean, more people really don't because it has astounding ratings and whatnot, but more people should watch the new TMNT.
Well, ever since Nickelodeon took it over, it's been pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as soon as somebody like Nickelodeon or Disney takes you over, generally you can assume that the production qualities are going to go way up. Everybody's all like, oh, I don't understand how that would work. I'm like, well, yeah, big company with a lot of money. It's like what happened to Power Rangers. Disney owns Power Rangers now, and so like the production quality went way up once they did.
Mm-hmm. Now, to be fair, money isn't the only thing you need for a show, but especially a show that requires either a lot of time to make or a lot of graphics in general, it's very helpful. Which, how much does Orphan Black cost to make? 'Cause fuck.
A lot of money.
I realize because most of the cast is actually the same actress, because it's spoilers, story about clones.
Where is that
but,
Rin? Oh, sorry, what?
What?
You have a Rin from Fate Zero, I think, GIF on your Tumblr board, and that's amazing. Is that from the new show?
I don't know. I reblogged it from someone else. I just like the moment of it. I don't remember it, so I'm going to say it's from the new one.
You do realize that's one of the girls that the main character makes it with, right?
Yes.
She's going to be preggers in like 2 months from that point in time. I think in like the actual canonical story, he gets every girl within like farting distance of him pregnant.
A fart can travel pretty far.
That's my point. If I remember correctly, it's possible for him to get the purple hair chick pregnant, Saber pregnant, Rin pregnant. Who else? You can get the little blonde haired girl pregnant, which is just creepy on so many different levels. I actually like the fact that I think his wish brings her parents back to life. Or something like that, because there's that whole thing about where she's a magical girl in another reality where her parents are still alive, and that's hilarious because like theoretically her father is the guy that takes him in, if I remember correctly. You know, just me being silly.
I don't see how that was silly, but whatever. You saw a thing and commented on it.
Well, I mean, it's just standard dating sim adapted, lore. If there's a guy who's decent looking and there's a bunch of girls who think he's interesting, he's probably going to get every last one of them pregnant at some point because,
Oh, yeah.
Universal constant of dating sims. The eventual end goal is to get every girl within distance of you pregnant.
Yes, pregnant.
Did I miss something? Is there some point where some girl takes your head off and carries it around like a trophy? Oh, wait. I think I just referenced another dating sim.
But yeah, I would say that is a common point of dating sims is to
not
necessarily get the girl pregnant, but to get the girl as it is a dating sim.
There's an ending in the Toradora dating sim where you get her pregnant. And that's generally considered one of the best endings. I mean, to be fair, I congratulate them on actually animating the super ending, which is they go their separate ways for a while and then come back together, and then there's supposedly an epilogue that they never got to animating that explains that basically they end up happily ever after. But whatever.
So where do you want to start this off? What do you want to talk about?
I like pie.
I sometimes like pie.
When I initially started down this line of reasoning, I was going to make a Hellsing Ultimate joke, but then I decided that was just way too out there and stopped with the whole pie joke. Boys, I'm not just a Nazi. I am an uber-Nazi. I don't just love war. I don't just like war. I fucking love war. Blitzkriegs, carrier bombings, V2 rockets, and just like go off the deep end.
So we watched more of Super S.
It was dumb.
Yes, it was. It was so dumb that most of the episodes were pointless. But
yeah, literally, we watched it and at the end.
You to watch them.
Yeah, at the end I was like, so what did I miss? And Kiki's like, nothing. You missed nothing. I'm like, oh, good.
Well, yeah, because one, a lot of characterization almost never goes over to another episode. Two, there really wasn't any, and it had nothing to do with anybody of importance. Or three, who the fuck cares? It was probably terrible. There will be episodes like that in Stars where you will just go, no, this episode didn't happen. Because it's out of character, it makes no fucking sense, and it makes everybody look terrible. This episode didn't happen, it didn't further the plot in any sense, so we might as well forget it.
Is that just pretty much Super S in a nutshell?
Yes, kind of, because
it feels like it feels like. I mean, they were pretty on target the first couple seasons. I mean,
there's some fapping about episodes, but
yeah, I mean, are the first like 10 episodes you have the space alien twins that are kind of like wee, and then they just kind of whatever, and they faff off and then fuck off, and then you get to the actual storyline with Prince Domande and the precious rocks gang. I don't know what else to call them.
The Black Moon Clan.
Yeah.
The Black Moon? The Dead Moon. Yeah. Okay.
Because even Kiki's not sure. That's how similar all the different bad guys are.
There are a few that have moon in it, and sometimes it's like, wait, is it Dead Moon or is it Black Moon? Dead Moon is.
Because what the dark one? What is it? The Dark Kingdom is the
Beryl.
First. That's Beryl, and then in the second series it's the Dead Moon.
No, it's Black Moon.
And then Black Moon. So you have the Dark Kingdom, the Black Moon. I don't even remember what the professor's group was called with the Witches 5.
What did he call his actual group? I don't know, but Mistress 9.
Yeah, you have Mistress 9 and Pharaoh 90.
Yeah.
And then they're like the Death Eaters. No. Or is that what they're called? Hang on. Sailor Moon S. I don't even know what they're called. Hang on. Alright. Daimon. Daimon's defeated.
Deathbusters.
The Deathbusters, thank you. They have the Deathbusters, and now we have, what is it, the Dark Circus?
The Dead Moon Circus.
Dead Moon Circus. And I don't even want to know what the next group is going to be called, because my head is starting to hurt.
What are they called? I don't know if they reference what they're called in the anime.
They encounter Queen Nahelinia again.
Nahelinia.
The hell is she?
Because we're finally at the part for those listening post the trio, the Hawkeye, Snake Eye, Fish Eye. They just got their dream mirrors, and we're finally going to see the quartet. And before this, you don't even fucking know who Queen Nahelinia is.
Okay.
She's like vaguely referenced a few times, and you sort of see evil face around the last few episodes, but it doesn't really matter. But yeah, Queen Nahelinia is the leader.
She first appears in episode 128 in Act 34 of the manga. Oh wait, that's Zirconia, sorry. She first appears 148 in full in Act 37 of the manga. what appears as a voice and an image in Act 35. So right around that, we're just starting to see her as like a ghostly image, and eventually she's going to fully appear in about another, looks like 5 to 10 episodes.
Mm-hmm. She's... So, yeah. Anyway, trying to remind myself that it's okay. It's okay. The season may be terrible, but it's okay. I want to say that the stars... I don't think they have... I'm not positive that they called themselves the shadow whatever in the anime version.
Okay,
They're Sailor Anima mates or something like that as a group, but I'm not sure if it's referenced in the anime as such because I don't remember. I could probably look up like Iron Mouse and see. But we're about to get into the actual plot, but there'll still be quite a bit of faffing about as we have like, what did I say, like 17 episodes left? Yeah, so there'll be a bit more faffing about. There'll be a couple of episodes that I will want to bash my head into the wall. Because they make Helios look terrible because he is terrible in the anime.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that when the new anime restarts and starts going, that they actually eventually get to readapting all of the source material again. Because I would legitimately like to see them take another stab at what is Supers.
Because, it could have been saved by a lot less faffing about. I mean, I don't mind delving into the bad guys, but we aren't really. We're just shown them a lot, and they're faffing about. So we only really get characterization for them, other than the fact that one is a crossdresser, and they all like going after pretty people until their last few episodes. So we've been essentially dicking around. I don't remember how many episodes in, but quite more than necessary. And there's not been a lot, like, there's been a few nice moments, but overall it's really shit. And it's going to continue to be shit, because Helios in the anime is, again, terrible and makes Chibiusa keep an unnecessary secret, which isn't a secret in the manga version. I mean, I have my issues with the manga, but it works right there because, again, he needs them to protect him, so why is he keeping himself a secret to them? And they just kind of blindly go along with it. And Super S is really also very terrible about the connection to Mamora in this, because for once this is literally affecting his kingdom, not just because it's happening on Earth, but because it comes from his set of powers.
Yeah.
The golden crystal and whatnot.
Isn't the story that the horn that he's got is actually some sort of like reflection of his golden crystal that's only spoken about like maybe twice in the anime and is referenced in the video games?
The golden crystal in general is different from the manga to the anime, but in the anime form, yeah, it's essentially his version of the silver crystal that Pegasus cares for, while also caring for, I'm probably mispronouncing it, but Elysium? Yeah. And the dream world, because he's the protector of dreams and making children.
The Fields of Elysium refers to the place that great heroes go when they die.
Yeah. So, really, because we're talking about it, I'm going to spoil it. They are going to say that there is a connection between Mamora, Helios, and the Golden Crystal. This will not happen until the episode before the last episode.
Oh, of course, because, I mean, if we've learned anything from the anime as time goes on, they're just going to fuck the pooch as hard as possible.
Yeah.
With, keeping to the, somewhat related to, they're just enough related to the source material that it makes sense in concept, but is in no way, they take their own spin, make their own use of it.
Because, which, you know what, there's nothing wrong with telling a different version, it's just, it's a very bad version.
Yeah, it's not well written.
It's poorly written, it's it's a lot of shit that didn't need to happen because it never comes up again, or because nothing really happened.
But
It's about
what's absolutely
people.
amazing to me is that in the game, in the fucking RPG, it turns out that in that reality, the ghosts or spirits or whatever you want to call it of the 4 generals are holding the location of his crystal secret. It's somewhere in Japan. Just because, fuck it, it's in Japan. His previous life could have been from anywhere on Earth, but apparently he was from Japan. Fuck it.
Because why not?
Yeah.
We do shit like that over here. It's very ethnocentric, but it's also convenient because arguably, if you live there, you know a lot about it to write about it.
I particularly enjoyed the fact that, like, when they converted the locations of the 4 generals' shrines, I guess you would call it, it turned out that one was in Canada, one was in Tibet, one was in South America, like Brazil or Bolivia, and I do not remember where the last one was. But they were just in random places. Like, it was like Canada, Tibet, Brazil. Where was the last one? Because Tibet was the snow level with Amy. Canada was Makoto. Brazil was Minako. And that meant Ray's was... God, Ray's was, I think, the longest one. I can't remember for the life of me where the hell her thing took place.
I don't remember. It's been so long since I played the game.
Yeah, I mean, I just played it like a couple months ago, or I guess it was probably more like 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I swear, I mean, the game, just on a side note, the game, Kiki's aware of this, but the game is just god-awful boring. It's a grind fest.
It can, oh my god, yeah, to be fair though, a lot of older animes, or, not animes, older games.
Older games based on animes, are not very, legitimately, it's one of those games where if you spend a lot of time grinding at the beginning, you can literally just run the rest of the game because nothing is that difficult. I mean, legitimately, Kiki knows this. I spent, I don't know how long on the final battle in Amy's story when you finish the first chapter and it goes to each of the Usagi and Chibi stay behind because Mamoru is sick from protecting her from the bad guys, like big attack, and they stay behind and the girls go to each corner of the world, and Amy's is first, and Amy's final boss is literally a slugfest. And it turns out that from talking to some people, there's a specific way you're supposed to do it to make it go fast, but if you don't, you can literally spend 2 hours just, attack, defend, attack, defend, attack, defend. It's absolutely brutal.
Does Helios ever appear in the musicals? I don't think I've ever seen.
I don't think people in general are really keen on that part of the story. Like, you hear a lot of stuff about stars and a lot of stuff about S and a lot of stuff about R and regular Sailor Moon, but like they don't recover the Super S storyline very often. I don't think it kind of just it's there. It's a connection between. I feel like it was written just to connect S to stars in such a way as to show some character growth, but not like.
Well, in the manga, which is a much better representation of it, ignoring that it's the original representation, but it's more about the connection between Mamoru Usagi and Chibi Usagi, because Helios interacts with all of them, and
that's right, okay,
and whatnot, and where opposed in the anime, Chibi Usagi is pointless, and everything is pointless, but still, but I mean, arguably it'd be hard to get a fucking horse on stage. Because I think they've done Super S stuff, but they probably, because they obviously changed the plot often for, well, not change, but do it differently.
Well, I feel like if they were gonna do,
Yeah, they have done Super S.
here's how it would logically be done today. You would have a puppet, a very large scale puppet, for when he's in horse form, but the majority of the time you would switch it to having him appear in his like human form. Because it would just be easier to block out that way.
So
okay.
I'm reading the wiki for the apparently the one musical, because it's the only one I can find that covers Super S, and Helios is merely a voice.
Oh, nice. So they just
It focuses more on the Dead Moon Circus. So that works. It would probably, because this is back from 95, so it was probably easier to do it that way. Which is why there's no like pictures of him. Okay.
Yeah, because he's just a voice over the intercom.
But yeah, we'll watch more Super S when we can, and you'll finally get to see Nehelania and Quartet and what their version of the plot is, because they'll have to tell us it, and then they'll tell us it poorly, and it won't get wrapped up until the First of Stars. Because reasons. Oh, I didn't remember it at the time, but the Super S version of the anime also has a weird time holdback. Because in the manga, Super S is when they start high school. But for some reason they held it back in the anime.
Yeah. So basically they worked it out to the last, like, what ended up being 2/5 of the TV series would take place in their first year of high school. Instead, it doesn't happen until the last fifth in the TV show. I always felt like the whole crime-fighting superhero team works better as a high school thing than a middle school thing. But Japan's got a hard-on for 8th graders saving the world, so I guess I just gotta, try to conceive of it that way.
Different culture. I'm sure there's a reason for it.
Because high schoolers are too busy.
I suppose we feel weird about putting like pre-teens and younger teens in danger for some reason.
It's not logical for a 13-year-old to be fighting crime.
Where I suppose their high schoolers are really, 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 really busy getting into college.
I was gonna say, they'd be too busy
or a business or whatnot.
They'd be too busy fucking around with their college entrance exams and getting a date to be worried about saving the world.
Where arguably not that our high school students don't do that sort of thing, but it's different culturally, because being in high school / early adulthood in general is a weird place where a lot of society still sees you as a kid, but expects adult things out of you without like any real training thereof, for the most part, because schools are really terrible at doing what they should. Da-da-da-da. Not that many colleges are any better.
No.
Yeah, so that was Super S. Nothing happened. Nothing important, really. I mean, Mako wore a pretty dress, and then her and Amy danced, and that was the only important part of that episode.
Yep. That Mako is still a woman underneath everything else.
And that Amy is a sweetheart.
I mean, I don't know how I honestly don't know how Mako can't get a date, but that's just, me going.
That's a culture thing, because they idealize small, petite women over there, especially in that era. Maybe not so much more, but probably still significantly. Where Mako is literally feminine-hood with martial arts mixed in, but yeah, loves flowers and cooking and shit, but because she's tall, people assume the worst of her. It's like, how dare she?
Well, there's some insinuation that she used to be like one of those like high school gang girls, like a Yankee.
I don't think she really was, though. I think people assume that because she was a tall girl who knew martial arts. Like, I think there was the assumption that has just followed her, and people get into fights with her, and not the other way around. And so the bad label was put on her through no real effort of her own, because she looks the type.
Well, she's pretty much right on target with the fighting skills, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, her cooking ability, she's like, she's into like flour arrangement. She's very like, she's got all of the, other than being, tougher than average and bigger than average.
Yeah. She's essentially a domestic goddess.
Yeah.
Who could kick your ass.
Exactly. I mean, to me, she feels like pretty much like the perfect woman. I mean, like, legitimately, she's confident, she's tough, but she's all the things that society expects out of women.
She's a little romance crazy.
Well, if you were that awesome and single, you'd wonder what the hell was wrong with the world too.
Mm.
She hit all the right buttons, but still nobody wants to date her.
Poor Mako.
I mean, it's pretty much hilarious. It's pretty much hilarious that the only one who's getting laid on a regular basis is Usagi, and that's later.
Oh, you missed, I forget which episode it was, but I think you missed it. The line where Diana was talking about how the king and queen always got sick.
Yes.
Important stuff was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And Luna's like, they both got sick at the same time. It's like, yes, they are very much hinting that not only are they slack-offs, but that they're running away to fuck each other.
Huh?
We're both sick, leave us alone.
We both have horrible plague. We'll be back in 20 minutes. Squeaky, 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 squeaky. Well, it's the old line. It's good that they have a healthy sex life.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love the idea. I absolutely love the idea of there being two daughters, but I'm okay with just Chibi. Like that side.
You could argue that's all she could manage.
That side story where Chibi's like, we'll say, like the same age that Usagi was when the original story started, and then there's another sister, a younger sister, who's basically the Usagi clone, is absolutely hilarious. Like, yeah, so it turns out that, well, we thought, Chibi was the Usagi clone. No, Chibi's pretty much what happens when you cross Usagi with, Mamoru's, common sense. Because let's not forget, Mamoru was going to be a doctor. There's a lot of doctors, actually, when you look at their dreams, like Amy, obviously, and then what was it, like, was another one of the scouts wanted to be a doctor, wasn't there? Because it was like Amy, Mamoru, and, like, was it Makoto wanted to be, like, a biologist or something?
No, Makoto wanted to, like, own a flower shop.
Is it Mina? No,
Mina wants to be an idol.
Ray wants to be a doctor, I think. Or is it Ray that wanted to be no, that was... Sagi wants to be a housewife. Like, legitimately, that's her dream. Just to be a housewife. I think Ray wanted to, like, travel the world and be a doctor and then, like, be a singer? Or was the travel the world and a singer, that was Mina?
I think that was Mina.
Because Amy just wanted to be a doctor, period. That's what she's been studying so hard for. I think Ray wanted to be a doctor, too. Ray's been all over the place, if I remember correctly. She's got, like, a whole bunch of different dreams, whereas the other ones are kind of set.
Yeah.
Like, Makoto wants to own a flower shop. Mina always wanted to be an idol. Usagi always wanted to be a housewife, which I thought was, like, I'm like, way to aim low.
Well, she just wants to have a loving family.
Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with that. I just meant,
Yeah.
when she ends up being queen of the world, it's kind of like, well,
Well, she arguably when she's queen of the world, she's kind of mom to everyone.
yes.
Maybe I was Hotaru who wanted to be a doctor.
I think you might be right.
Yeah.
Because she was always sick. Yeah, because I think, what was it, because Michiru wanted to be, a world-class violinist? Well, she already was, but, she wanted to, travel the world and play, and then, I don't remember what, not Setsuna, Haruka's dream was. Was it race car driver?
Probably, although I think she technically was.
Yeah. I meant like F1 world tour. Their dreams are really interesting because it's obvious stuff, but then you read it, you're like, oh yeah, okay.
I don't remember.
No worries. We're always talking about Sailor Moon. It's gonna get worse next week when the new show premieres.
Sailor Moon. Which I am looking forward to.
We all are.
So I guess let's touch words. Words. Let's talk about Kill la Kill now. Since we finally finished that.
Yes, it's done. What was I gonna say? Why can't I think of the name now? Well, what's the name of her uniform? Saketsu.
Senketsu?
Yeah. Saketsu is my favorite character of all time. I legit mean that. He literally follows the same. He seems to follow the same ideal system as Kamina from Gurren Lagann. He's very he's all about protecting his friends and doing the right thing. Which is what you would expect from an artificially created, clothing monster. In a world where clothing are basically evil.
Yes, evil aliens that want to consume you for energy.
Yes, they're like locusts.
Kinda. Yeah.
No, legit, they're like locusts. They eat, reproduce, and then blow off.
Yeah. Locusts of space. Life fiber.
It pretty much just smelt like female empowerment through sexuality.
Well, yeah, we talked about how it, even though it's through the male gaze, it's still very much about not just female empowerment, but empowerment of acceptability of yourself and the fact that other people dress differently and whatnot. It's a lot about clothes culture, about how we kind of let it run our lives when really it's just clothes. We should be able to wear whatever the fuck we do or don't want.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a whole bunch of shit about family, too.
Yeah.
They don't hit you over the head with it, but, from the very beginning they talk about, what is family, who is your family, what makes someone a family member. And then they drop the whole spoilers, the two main characters are actually sisters.
Which you called earlier, and I already knew.
Well, they had the same color eyes. That was the whole thing.
Yeah.
Their eyes were exactly the same, and I went oh, sure. Dark hair, same eyes.
They had the same grimace.
Yeah.
Which is apparently a family trait.
And I would, like I said in most things, I would pay good money to see a slice of life anime that takes place after the end of the series.
You know, a lot of people want there to be a second season, which, I would still fucking watch it, but I'm okay without.
The story is complete as far as what they did, but I would still love to see a slice of life anime, just like a, Azumanga Daioh, Lucky Star type, just, them hanging out and, going places and doing stuff. I know that's
learning
dumb.
to be a family and whatnot.
But I mean, it wouldn't even have to be long. It could be 6 episodes. It could be 12 episodes. Just
Well, maybe they could just do a special.
I mean, I feel that same way. Like, I know everybody always like jumps down my throat for it. Not you, but like other people I've talked to about it. It's like I feel the same way about Madoka Magica. I'm like, after they do the whole ring cycle and fix everything, it would be nice to see like a world where everything gets sorted out and they get to just be middle school kids and do stuff.
Never.
I know. The world is shit. Fuck off.
Not so much that it's shit, but yeah.
Well, and it plays by this whole oh, you wanted to fix all the problems? Nope, just made them worse. Fuck you. Ha 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 ha.
Here, have more problems. Here, have some different problems. Problems. There's always problems. Problems are forever. It took a downturn.
Yep.
But yes,
I mean,
thumbs up for Kill la Kill.
Yeah, no, I liked it a lot. There's a lot of stuff about, and and she goes and Ryoko goes through a whole lot of growth. There's a whole she feels invincible. She doesn't feel invincible. She finds herself. She finds what is her family beyond her father being murdered in cold blood by some crazy bitch seamstress.
She finds a real purpose beyond wild rage and revenge.
Yeah.
You gotta have a life when that's all done.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, she still gets revenge, but it has a greater purpose.
Yeah.
It's
stops
more
being
about
revenge.
why he was killed and not just that he was.
Mm-hmm. Well, it stops about being just revenge and starts being about saving the goddamn world.
Yeah.
It stops being about killing the murderer and starts being about just that's one step towards stopping the inevitable end of the world. I don't know, I liked it. The art is really pretty. Music's good, obviously. Music's fucking fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Don't Lose Your Way will be stuck in my head for probably quite some time.
As you said that, it is now in my head, and I hate you.
Just that phrase, not the actual song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a pretty show. It was done by a good studio. The story was well written. The characters
Trigger does good animation.
What? No, oh yeah, the animation was smooth all the way through. There wasn't really any time where the animation got really janky.
I mean, sometimes when you look at a background character, it's like you didn't put the best effort, but in the end, it's a background character. You don't want them to be too overly defined. It pulls compositional focus away from the main action.
I actually enjoy where the background characters, when you get beyond just right behind the character to just kind of being in the background, they turn into stick figures. I love that. So it's they don't matter. You don't have to draw an entire crowd perfectly. Mm-hmm. You can have them just kind of be vague.
Even going by human vision depth of field, you lose a lot of definition after a certain amount. So in animation, you have to go, well, what areas need to be better defined, and where do we draw the line? Because eventually you're going to A, be wasting your time, and B, pulling focus away from what you want people actually looking at.
I mean, I feel like anytime you have a crowd shot where it's a large crowd, there's not really any reason to waste your time or energy, drawing good background characters. Unless you're specifically
make sure people can realize that it's a crowd of people, but after that it's nah.
I just meant the whole it's a vague group of people in the distance and bleachers or the stands. I mean, unless you're gonna do a close up of let's say Mako's parents or Mako's family. Okay, yeah, then you give them more time because it's an actual set of secondary characters. But
you want us to know that they're in the crowd, so we should be able to define who's who.
Them out. Yeah.
Just really them.
Well, that's what I loved about. If you ever watch, what is it? Pawnee Pony Dash. It's all the non-character students look exactly the same, literally are the same character model, and it's hilarious because there's let's say I'll say 6 to 8 student main characters and the teacher. And then all the other male and female students are two sets of, there's a male design and a female design, and all the other seats are filled with these just generic, placeholder students that all look the same and are all wearing the same uniform. And I was like, and it's kind of annoying at first, but you start thinking about it, it's like, it saved them so much time and money on designing, like, very, like, loose character, background characters, but, like, not having to, like, work out an entire class worth of background characters that are going to appear over and over again. I mean, that's kind of like, it turns out that there are names and identities to every last one of the people that are in, like, the K-On! Classes with the four main girls. And I was shocked to find out that they all have backgrounds. I was like, holy shit, their entire class, every character has a background.
To be fair, though, they have mild interaction with them as opposed to mass of students running, massive students shouting, massive students getting exploded.
Yeah.
So,
no, I understand what you're saying. I'm just like, there's an entire book on the backgrounds of all the classmates of Yui, Ritsu, and Samugi. Because if I remember correctly, Mio ends up they're all together in the final year. First year.
Yeah, in the final year.
Yeah, first 2 years. They're separated, and then I can't think of the teacher's name.
She becomes a homeroom teacher and pulls strings to get them all together.
Yeah. Well, she doesn't pull strings, she just basically tells the other teachers that she wants them.
Yeah, it's like,
Because I read the manga 4 strip where she does it. She just basically walks into the faculty office and tells the other homeroom teachers that she wants all the light music club people together.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody likes her, and she's so nice that nobody says no, because nobody wants to upset her.
Yes, do not want to release the fury inside, or the crying. Neither's good.
She was a heavy metal rocker. That's what I love so much about her. She's like, I tried so hard to hide that part of my life. It's like, you were into heavy metal. I love the animation flashback where she's talking about trying to woo the boy in her class. And she
just gets wilder and wilder.
Yeah. And finally, yeah.
He's like, stop.
He puts his hand on her shoulder. He's like, Sako, you went too far. And then just walks away. And she's like, oh.
Oh, fuck you. It'll never work for me. Have you still not seen the movie?
I haven't. Sue me. I'll watch it sometime soon. Don't for shame
I
me.
shame you.
You can try. Don't get very far. Dude, I'm still working on that one I'm still working on, well, I still have 2 more discs of Simone. I need to watch 2 more discs of that other one I got that's sitting upstairs that's about the girl that, well, you haven't actually heard me talking about that, but I started watching one of the things I randomly picked up from Half Price. It's like, I don't even remember what it's called, but like, it is just random as hell. It's about a girl from a parallel dimension that comes to Earth to reinvigorate depressed people. Like, she takes a giant electrical plug and sticks it into people and basically re-energizes them so that they get over their problems.
That is sweet, and at the same time, probably a really misrepresentation of problems.
Yes. Well, it oversimplifies the issues, but it's very... Well, there's a lot... There's some stuff, like, I'm only, like, on an episode maybe 5 or 6 out of, I think, like, 13. Or, like, 3 or 4 out of 15, and it's, like... Or 13, and it's, like... It's very... She's about, like, trying to help people, whereas the other people from her agency are, like, just shoot them full of energy and let's go. And she's like, well, we should probably, try to figure out what's causing the problems, because, shooting them full of energy, maybe it's a short fix for a long problem. Like, the way it all starts is there's this girl, she's depressed because she feels like she's useless to her brother. Her mother died in a car accident, and her father's always working. And the brother legitimately, his argument when asked about it is basically, he didn't realize that his sister felt useless because he said, my sister's 13, I'm 20, it's my job to take care of her while my dad's at work, and she feels useless because she feels like, she should be helping, but he's doing everything himself, and that he's overburdened, and he doesn't, trust her to do anything because every time she's working on something, when he comes home, he's like, oh, I'll finish it up for you, you go rest, or you go do homework. And it's kind of just this really, she gets super depressed and decides that, since she's just useless anyway, she'll just kill herself. And I'm like, and at no time does she actually go, and I understand how, in real life it's that way, but it's like, at no point does she tell her brother how she's feeling. So he never picks up on the fact that she feels like he doesn't think she's useful, but it's not that. He says straight up when asked about it, later, he goes, well, I just, he says, you're a kid. I want you to have a happy childhood. I don't want you to have to make dinner and do the laundry and stuff. He's like, I can do that, I want you to have a happy life, and that's why I do it all. Not because I have to, but because I want to. And she's like, well, I felt useless. And he's like, well, all you had to do was say so, and I would have gladly, shared responsibility with you. And so there's it was a misunderstanding that just felt stupid. At no point did anybody actually stop and go, maybe talk about it. It was just she held it in and it slowly festered until she was just so, brokenhearted that she's just like, well, since I'm no good to anybody, I'll just kill myself and stop being a burden. And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Your brother comes home every day and tells you, how much he loves you and that he's, that he wants you to be happy. And I'm just like, whoa, misunderstanding. Anyway, that's the first couple episodes, and I'm just like, wow, this is dark as shit. And then there's this whole then there's this whole thing about the girls from this agency because they have all this crazy technology that makes them invisible to normal human beings, and this guy can see them even when they're invisible, and it's just random as hell. Kiki's looking around what the actual fuck?
I'm looking at Trooper.
Why are you looking at Trooper? What did Trooper do?
He's being so well behaved, I'm concerned. What? Is that what you want? Okay. Cat. So yeah, that was the two topics we set up, so I don't know what else to talk
about. Yeah. Well, Raid and I started watching Attack on Titan. We're on episode 8 of 13 for season 1. It seems pretty interesting. I was told that the American dub is a train wreck. I would say it is not. Well, depends on how critical you are of English dubs. It's obviously very different from the Japanese, but I feel like it works for what it is. I have no frame of reference. I never watched it in Japanese originally, so Raid's been going well, they said that line differently, or this line was conveyed in a different way in the Japanese, and I'm I feel like they're similar things, and it's one guy, one time the father at the beginning, the father says something about humanity is nothing more than animals now, because everything's being attacked by the Titans, and humanity is nothing more than or nothing more than animals to the Titans. We're not keeping them out, they're keeping us in, kind of shit. And in the English, it's we're nothing more than caged animals. And I'm oh, it's a similar thing, but they leave out the stuff about the walls not keeping them out. It's the walls keep us in.
So it's technically the same context, but different conveyance.
Yeah, it's. And I can't think of other examples of this, but there's a lot more primalistic shit in the Japanese where they're saying stuff we've been regressed to nothing more than animals. We're basically penned in, whereas the same feeling is conveyed in English, but it's more we're human beings who have been caged by a much more powerful predator. Like, we haven't been regressed to the level of human beings penning animals. We're just human beings who have finally met a predator that's stronger than we are. That's, dominating us and basically penning us in. So it's a similar idea, but it's like less like we're nothing better than animals and more like we're human beings who have finally met our match. That's the way I perceived it. I'm probably getting the context all the way wrong.
I have not watched Kill la Kill. Not Kill la Kill. I watched Kill la Kill. Wow.
You have not
Attack
watched
on
Attack on
Titan.
Titan. Yeah.
And all I know about it is what I see with fandom, and I hope that's not what the show is like. Otherwise, why the fuck is it so popular? But again, fandoms are core representations of shows. So,
I'm trying to think of how
it just sounds like so far it's more nitpicky than actual devastation of a dove.
I feel like because I'm very forgiving. Like I don't get caught up in like small translation changes because I feel like when you translate something from a foreign language to your local language, you give some stuff up just because it's you got to make it work contextually. It's like when they convert a Japanese comedy show that has a whole bunch of like wordplay puns into like we'll say just regular like English puns, or they make like pop culture jokes and everybody's like, that was so dumb, those lines were so good in Japanese. It's like, yeah, but we don't have that kind of like it's like they convert it from like wordplay into puns in English. So maybe the wordplay was the word means 3 different things in Japanese depending on the context. And so, they were saying, I can't think of a good Japanese like wordplay pun, but it's what I'm saying. Like some of the words in Japanese have multiple meanings depending on the context, and it'd be like somebody here going, you're on a boat and somebody says, "Oh, you did that on purpose."
Well, yeah, because our language works differently.
Yeah.
We have different syntax, and yeah, a lot of our words, it depends on the context of the sentence for what the word actually is, but not to the degree Japanese has, where a word can change just based on how you write it.
Yeah. But you get what I'm saying. Like, the Japanese actually have, like, wordplay, which is, like, equivalent of English puns, where you make a statement that's actually, like, depending on how you contextualize it, like... Alright, so, hare plus gu is a meteorological pun about, like, cloudy with a chance of like monsters or something like that. But it also references the characters' names depending on how you contextualize the words. And so like when they translate those jokes into English, there was a whole bunch of puns about about rain basically. Everybody's like, well, that was so stupid. I should have left it the way it was. Like, yeah, but the jokes don't make any sense in English if you contextualize them as, like, wordplay. Because we don't have that kind of wordplay in our language. Like, we do, like, but they end up being puns if it's a wordplay. People make, you get the bad referential puns, like, Mr. Freeze says, cool it. It's pun. It's wordplay is puns in our language. That's the simplest form of wordplay. It's, you make jokes about, it's writing and you tell somebody they got a sunny disposition. You're making wordplay jokes.
Well, they do that a lot with like character names as well.
Yeah.
Where it's kind of a joke. Free has that, and I'm not sure what they're going to do for it for the dub version. They'll probably go the simple way of it because it's a girl with a boy's name because all the boys have girls' names.
What are we talking
Traditionally,
about?
Free, the anime.
Yeah.
But it's also not. Her name is Go, and she wants to go by Ko. But it's not just that it's a boy's name. It's also because it's either Go Go-kun or Go-chan, when you add a certain honorific to it,
Yeah.
it's also a word for, like, cum guzzling.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's the manager?
Yeah, the chick, who's the younger sister of the rival. Is it Goku?
No, Goku.
I don't remember.
Goku is like a type of vegetable in Japanese. That's the
No,
joke
not
with...
Kun.
Oh. Well, we'll find out here in a second. Hang on. I'm gonna go. First, we know the more typical reading of her name, Ko, due to Go being a boyish name, though she eventually gives up mostly due to Nagasa's insistence calling her Go. She joins the fan club as manager, hoping she can help change back. Oh, blah blah blah. So I have to look in like an actual wiki to find out.
Yeah, but I mean, easily just give if you just point out that it's a boy's name, because we don't tend to change names anymore when we dub. Sometimes, but not anymore. So obviously it's pointed out, but
Gokun.
yeah.
Gokkun. What is it? Elephant tube, which.
Trooper, be nice to Ringo. Yeah, I forget what episode it is, and I forget the character, but essentially he uses the honorific of Kun with her, and she gets very upset about it.
Yeah, it's a wordplay.
Yeah.
Gokun is a Japanese term for a sexual activity in which a person, not necessarily but usually a woman, consumes the semen of one or more men, usually from some kind of container. Commonly used containers generally include cups, beakers, bowls, baking pans, wine, or cocktail glasses.
Mm-hmm. Which, that was my name, and that was something. I probably wouldn't want to go by that name.
The joke being is the word Gokun is an onomatopoeia which translates into English roughly as gulp, or the sound made by swallowing lots of something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That part will probably be left in.
Yeah, that's a joke that wouldn't make any sense in English when, like...
I mean, I realize that, like, a decent amount of people might know that term, but not enough.
Okay.
It would probably just be merely that it's a boy's name and she wants a girl's
Kiki, I've been watching anime and been fairly interested in Japanese culture for something like, we'll say, a decade and a half. In that time, I've never heard that term used, despite the fact that I've probably seen it come and go. I had no idea what you were talking about when you were like Goku, and I'm like, what? Huh? I'm not an expert by any means, but like, you'd think I would have absorbed that at some point, and
I'm not an expert either. It was just something I happened to come across before seeing the show, because I like to look at a lot of fetish stuff.
Yeah.
As more like hey, let's look at this, and not from I enjoy that from a porn perspective.
Well, that from a porn perspective never actually happens, and, like, the semen that they're drinking is never usually actually seen.
Yeah. But, it's nice to look at fetish and go, huh, or that's interesting, or I didn't realize that could be, but technically a fetish could arguably be anything.
I never laughed so
hard. And to learn, like, terms or what it's called elsewhere.
Yeah. I never laughed so hard than when I realized that, if you ever watch really carefully when they do something like that, they'll generally cut away for a few seconds and then cut back. When they're cutting away, they're switching out the glass full of actual, man cum with, like, watered down yogurt. I don't remember what the actual, like, recipe is for it, but most of the time, if we can help it, if anyone can help it, they're not making somebody actually drink, 200 men's, ejaculation.
Although I think Japan has a tournament for
what?
A cum guzzling tournament.
Stay tuned for part 2. Welcome to part 2 of episode 52 of the Super Happy Fun Jabbertron Tea Party.
Probably.
Yeah. I mean, they also have a cum production tournament, but...
Who can produce the most cum in one shot? Well,
It's not one shot, it's actually over time.
Oh, God.
Like, you don't get, like, very long rests, it's just how long you can keep going. It doesn't have to be in one ejaculation, just, trying to keep producing more and more. I remember watching a documentary on that.
That must have been interesting as hell.
Kinda, because they're essentially just... There are lady assistants who help them jack off into condoms, essentially.
Yeah.
And when it's filled, they tie it off and put it in a pile, and the highest weight wins.
Yeah.
It's like, that's an interesting title to have.
Well, considering most guys can, at most, go 2 or 3 times with the average refractory period before literally they need anywhere from 4 to 8 hours for their testicles and prostate to produce enough liquid to continue on. That
I don't remember how much the winner had produced, but I do remember that, like, for the most part, like, after the first few goes, none of them looked like they were having fun. Like, it was more of a, I must keep going, and not a pleasure thing.
Oh, no. You gotta understand, like, it's not generally fun for men to ejaculate more than 1 or 2 times in a row, because your prostate goes dry after that. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, that there aren't guys capable of doing it, but, like, I know, like, personally, I would probably, after the first, like, 2 or 3, I'd be like, no, I'm done, I don't want to go anymore, because you'd be shooting fucking blanks. Just be like, ow, 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 because, like, all the lubrication and stuff comes from your prostate, and your prostate's, like, roughly the size of a coin purse on most men, if you're lucky. If you're unlucky, it's, like, the size of a quarter, and you got enough for, like, 1 shot, and then you're going dry. Which, if I understand correctly, would hurt like a mother of a bitch. So, yeah. Ugh.
On that note, I have to pee.
Have fun.
So, I suppose you keep talking about prostates.
No, I'm pretty much done with prostates now. I don't know what I'm going to talk about next. Stuff, probably.
Since my fall in the kitchen yesterday, I have given up my walking around the house, at least, with a cane, so now I just take my cane everywhere.
Gotcha.
Because I am falling far too often, and the kitchen floor is not comfortable.
I would assume not.
Nope.
I'm a bit shocked. So apparently the second season of Free has been licensed by Funimation, but not the first season.
What?
Yes.
Did you hear about the anime that got licensed by Netflix?
No. What? Oh, yeah. Knights of Sidonia?
The night thingy?
Yeah.
I have not seen it, so...
I haven't either. I think it's being simulcast in English and Japanese. Roughly the same time as Sailor Moon starts. So that ought to be interesting. I really do need to watch more anime. I keep telling myself I'm going to do. Like, the last 2 days I was off, and I was going to watch some stuff, and it never happened.
You watched a few things. The 2 things we talked about, so yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of shit out there that's gotta get watched. And then there's going to be more shit. That's essentially how it works, though. Never done. Never done. Do I hear a clock?
Yeah.
Oh, you have an actual ticking clock?
Yeah, it's on the wall.
I doubt the recording's hearing it, but
I'm surprised you could pick that up. It's way over there on the far wall. Back before it was easy for me to see, like before I had like desktop clocks and everything. I put that on the wall so that if I got up to check something, I could just look at the wall as I was walking to the bathroom and see what time it was. Now I got a desk clock like right here, and I've got like clocks on either monitor that tell me what time it is.
no, our digital clock, I can see it from where I lay in the bed, so.
That's always nice.
Yep. Yeah, I spend most of my life with the computer, so. I usually know what time it is. Not always sure what day it is, but usually know what time it is. So what else to talk about? California's on fire, but it's summer, so that's expected.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently, we have a bit of a whooping cough epidemic going on right now. Like, what was it, 4,000 some odd cases?
That sounds about right.
Yep. So, yay!
Here's a good one. Answer Man on ANN just answered a question about how do people feel about the anime DVD Blu-ray combo packs.
Which we discussed a bit in the last one.
I'm a fan. Surprise, surprise.
I don't buy anime, so I see the reasoning behind it, though.
My reasoning has always been that, well, I'm totally happy with DVDs. Some of my friends only have DVD players. Some of my friends have like big TVs with nice Blu-ray players, and so having both versions is nice because I go to somebody's house where they only have a DVD player. Well, I still have a copy that works, but if I'm somewhere where they want to see it in HD with all the bells and whistles, well, I have that copy too. So it's not like I don't have to pick either, so I don't have to re-buy it. So if like that's something that kind of sucks about some of the older stuff. It's like I would like to have it in. It would have been nice to have it in Blu-ray, but I don't like it enough to actually go back and re-buy it once the Blu-ray version comes out. And sometimes just doesn't measure up. Like my friends are shocked that I haven't bought Eureka 7 in Blu-ray now that that's out, and I'm like, I like the show, but not enough that I'm gonna spend the money again to have a copy that's on Blu-ray.
Yeah. I don't buy anime. I stream, so it doesn't really affect me. I also don't, go a lot of places, so
Yeah.
people tend to come to me. Because you see what happens when I go places? I fall down. And everything hurts. More than
It's all fun. It's all fun and games till Kiki falls down. Then it's hilarious.
Well, it was like, it was terrible because nobody heard me fall. I was in the kitchen by myself, which is rare.
Yeah.
This isn't a big apartment. So I'm laying there for a moment, trying to catch my bearings, and then I'm like, oh, nobody's coming. I should probably shout. Which is why I shouldn't live alone. Other than the fact that I'm married. It's kind of nice to live with your husband. The whole love being around him thing.
Mm-hmm. I love that they're making a Lupin the Third live-action movie.
Yes, they are. They keep posting like little pictures and whatnot from it.
The trailer's
Looks like it's gonna be okay.
The trailer looks amazing.
Well, excited for it. I still have not seen the Rurouni Kenshin live-action movie, but they're making more, so apparently it did well. Yay!
I always loved Lupin the Third. I don't know what it is.
The witty thief who's not a terrible person.
Yes.
We love bad guys who are technically not really all that bad.
Very Robin Hoodish.
Yeah.
I mean, even as old as the original series is, like the original first couple seasons are, it's still very good. Like it holds up surprisingly. Like
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, if you ever like watch the first Gundam, it's very janky. Like the designs are bad compared to the modern Gundam designs, which are very like sleek and futuristic. I mean, I own G Gundam, Gundam Wing, Z Gundam, Gundam 0080, whole bunch of them, and they're okay. Like the 80 ones are okay, the 80s ones are okay, the 90s ones are beautiful, honestly, for what they are. Gundam Wing is like people give Gundam Wing a lot of shit because basically Gundam is nothing more than political commentary, but like it's a beautiful show. The character designs are great. This is back when everything was like, cell animated too, so everything is on freaking, not nitros. What am I trying to say? It's on cellulose, not cellulose. Cellophane? No, I don't remember. You know what I'm saying? It's all on plastic basically. Once they start painting everything.
Let you in, now shut up.
Did you hear that Satoru Iwata, president and CEO of Nintendo, got reelected at the shareholders conference?
Yes, I did see that.
So obviously he's doing something right that shareholders decided he's worth keeping around.
Well, he admitted that Nintendo was not doing what it should. And people took pay cuts for it and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
People at the top.
Yeah. In a way, I like him for being at least just being honest about everything. I love Shigeru Miyamoto for just finally saying they originally had him as like vice president of like operations or development or something, and he said, you know what? He said, I'm not a manager. I'm a guy that makes games. He's like, so he stepped. I remember when he stepped down from that and said, I'm gonna go. Like they gave him a new position they made that was like director of innovation or director of development or something like that, where basically he's a top level senior guy, but his job is basically to watch over Nintendo R&D. It was perfect for him, and I was like, and that's one of the reasons why I like Iwata so much. Is Iwata was cool with that. Instead of telling him, you know what, you either stay a vice president of operations or you're out of this company. They've made him a position that didn't make him responsible for like the day-to-day running of the company, but allowed him to still have oversight over the people that are making the games.
Mm-hmm.
And I love listening to the guy that took over development of the Zelda team. Still brings him like every month brings him an updated build of the game to play and give his impressions on, and that just I don't know. Like, the more I hear about the way the company is run, the more I like the way they do it because they still keep everybody involved and nobody's cut out. Nobody's not good enough to have input. They're trying to build games that people want to play. And I'm easy to please too. I mean, like I'm not a good representative sample of like what makes a game good because like I just play Mario games. I just play Zelda games. Like I'm not picky. I'm not like, oh, that game was dumb. I'm like, I like all these games. They're all fun.
Whereas I am bitchy McPictureson and I'm like, no, stop giving me the same fucking game 50 million times over. Just because you change one aspect of it does not mean it's not the same goddamn game.
Yes, but it's got prettier graphics.
I don't give a fuck.
But you'll still play them. You'll just
No,
wait
I
for them to
won't.
be on sale. That's all.
Okay. Sometimes.
All the time. Don't deny it.
Like, yeah, I ended up buying Dead Space 1 and 2 on sale. But that's more because I wanted to Let's Play them than any actual care of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's one of those games where I feel like there's a giant disconnect from gameplay to story. I don't feel like it greatly represents the fear it's trying to show, and it's mostly shock, and that doesn't scare me. Whereas, like, when you listen to the plot and whatnot, it actually has this really nice... It's a lot of shit you've heard before, but still nice mythos wrapped up in a first-person shooter. Not that there couldn't have been shooting and whatnot, it was very bland, and the third game kind of really blandinized some important characters.
Well, that was one game where I felt like the gameplay didn't really match up with the story they were telling.
Yeah, which is starting to happen. It's not a new thing, but it's more prevalent where there's a giant disconnect from the story they're trying to tell and the gameplay they have. And it should really, one should inform the other. It should be a circle, not two separate lines.
But it's like, it's like people complained about the story from Far Cry 3, which is the last like really big game I played, and I was like, I don't know, I thought it was really well told. It's some average college kid's descent into madness as he slowly kills an island's, inhabitants, basically. Like the progression from, green recruit to, hardened soldier. And how we kind of compartmentalize the actions we make in a war zone. Like, I got a lot out of it. Like, and, a lot of my friends, said, like, well, you're reading way too far into it. It's like, no, there's a lot of stuff that can be taken from this. You descend into madness. You eventually can rationalize the murder of people. Just the random murder of people. You reach a point where you can rationalize that in the game, where your character's like, you do what you have to survive, and it stops being about ethics or morals, and it's about, what do I have to do to keep my friends I'm trying to rescue alive? Who has to die in the process?
I think the issue of Far Cry story is not so much the main character as much as its villains. Like, its big baddie gets taken out too soon, and it feels like later it's scrambling for villains.
Well, the problem being is that there's 3 great villains, and all 3 of them die in quick time events. There's no great battle. You just put a knife in their chest and call it a day, which is realistic. It's how it would happen in the real world. But what you want, a big epic battle, is not generally how it goes down when you finally face off against somebody. It's either
I'm not so much saying the big epic battle thing, because in the end you're probably just going to stab or shoot or whatnot somebody to get them out of the way. I meant from a storytelling point. Not that it required a big shootout, just that the villain, all except one, crazy guy. I haven't actually played the game. This is more from watching / what other people have said about it, is that the villains are very... I'm not looking for the word contrived. It's more that they're a letdown, I guess. That the end area felt more like they didn't quite know what they were doing, and they
can't... What happened in my opinion is that there are 2 major islands, the South Island and the North Island, and you're not even told about the South Island until roughly halfway through the game. You spend the first half of the game on the North Island basically going around freeing villagers, or not villagers, but like resistant fighters and closing enemy pirate bases. Because it's you versus the pirates. And I mean pirates in the modern sense, not pirates in the Yar matey sense. And so you're riding up to this big battle with the leader of the pirates, Vaz, who was the brother of the lady who's running the resistance. And the whole story is that basically his boss, who is a shadowy figure until somewhere damn near the end of the first half of the game, got him hooked on drugs. He got all kinds of crazy from being on drugs too long and too hard. And it leads up to this big confrontation at his pirate base on a little island off the east, like the central east coast of the island, the North Island. Like, you clear the island and there's still like a little red zone on this little island you could never get to because it's all like cliffs and shit. And so you like paraglide in, and then it's his base, and you make your way through the base, rampaging until you get to his bunker, and then go to a quick time event where you have this. And there's this whole thing about, like, damn near the beginning of the game, you get sprayed with psychedelic mushroom spores, so you start having these, like, visions. And so the whole bad Michael Jackson, knife fight with him is in like a bad like psychedelic vision. And when you come back out of the vision, you're on your knees on top of him with your fucking hunting knife sticking out of his sternum, and he's dead. And then all of a sudden the game kind of comes apart because he was the big bad guy. There were no other, like, there's the like assassin of the big bad guy that's his boss, who you kill before you kill Vaz. He's holding one of your buddies hostage, and you have to do the whole thing where you're in his sex dungeon basement, and you put a knife in him, and that's that. And you leave and whatever. But then it's like, they reveal the big bad guy, Volker, who's like, he's the average white, mob boss, businessman type, guy, sleazy scumbag in charge of a major criminal organization. And then you're told about the South Island, and the South Island is basically under the control of his mercenaries, who are like legitimate, like soldier dudes, not just like, villagers turned pirate, or Violenters turned pirate. These guys are not from around here. These are like, elite security mercenary type dudes. And so the whole game premise changes from you're a kid on vacation trying to save your friends from the pirates and help the islanders so that they get you off the island in one piece, because the whole deal is you kill the pirates and in the process save your friends. The islander resistance agrees to help you get off the island. But then you find out about the South Island, which is full of mercenaries, and the whole game changes because you find out that your supposedly dead little brother is being held hostage by Volker, and then you do this whole deal where you impersonate a recruit and then run around the island basically sabotaging his operations. And it changes from being like the whole premise changes because it stops being you're a college kid and starts being like you're an undercover CIA mercenary kind of thing, because you're working with undercover CIA operatives to basically take Volker down.
Then I can see where people have the issue.
Yeah, because you're never that, but that's what it feels like. It stops feeling like you start feeling like Solid Snake, and stop feeling like you're this college kid who got stuck in the middle of a big war.
Mm.
And the game's not bad, but I mean, like, that part of the game goes super fast if you know what you're doing, because by this point you've unlocked there's like 30 levels with 30 possible skills, and by this point you're in the 20s for the levels, and so you've unlocked most of the skills, and you're pretty adept at using your weapons and doing everything. And so it's just a matter of going around, collecting all the MacGuffins, unlocking all the stuff, and doing the storyline, and then getting your ass off the island. And so it goes like super fast. Like the first half of the game took me like, we'll say 10 hours, and last half took me like another 5. And that was because I was being really, really thorough and looking for everything. But it was
Speaking of games.
Yeah.
Because you reminded me. The Sims 4 is coming out sometime this year. I want to say August. And they released some very important information that, well, I'm sure it's still going to make a ton of money, is probably going to stop a lot of people from buying it. Because, in general, Sims fans are pretty pissed about what happened in The Sims 3 with a lot of the nickel and diming of the expansion packs / that content was hidden, like core game content, not just items to buy, within the actual shop itself.
Yeah. That
was stuff you would have gotten in an expansion pack in a previous version. I mean, I get adding content later with expansion packs, but it's, very pissy way of going about it. But the base game of The Sims 4 will not have pools, which isn't that bad. Toddlers, which is dumb. Nor creative style, which is essentially the system you use to change the color or pattern of, like, furniture and clothing.
That's an expansion?
I haven't said when that's going to be put in. But I would argue that create a style and toddlers have been core game mechanics since
So
2.
you can have babies, but they won't grow up?
Yeah, they're not taking out the age system, just toddlers. They say they'll be put back in later, but that just means to tell me that they're not actually ready, and instead of waiting to put out the base game, they've decided, no, we'll make them pay for it later.
Which is
So
dumb.
your kids
I
will
gotta go
become
right-
babies and then
Kids.
children.
Yeah.
There's no in between, which toddler is not arguably a superfluous stage, especially since it's been introduced. But it seems like a weird thing to take out.
Mm-hmm.
I get pools. I will even fucking give you creative style. It's dumb, and it's a big part of why people enjoy playing the game, because, you know, it's fun to decorate houses. But toddlers.
Yeah, I don't. This is the same thing that happened with SimCity, though.
Yeah, it sounds like, yet again, a game that shouldn't be released yet, but is going to be, because somebody gave a date without actually knowing what was going on.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what EA's thing with releasing half-finished games is, but that's becoming a troubling pattern for the company, that they're releasing games with only, like, parts of it finished, and saying, well, we'll get the other parts finished eventually, just give us some time. It's like, well, why don't you just delay the game until you have the entire game finished?
It'd be one thing if it was like a content patch update, but we know it's just going to be added to an expansion that you're going to have to pay for.
Yeah.
And, well, that's just terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't planning on buying it anyway, because poor and generally pissed at EA about what happened with The Sims 3 in general. But, yeah, I realize it probably in the end won't actually hurt sales, because people are mindless drones in that fashion, but it's becoming far too common for it to be understandable.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Are you getting tired?
No, I'm fine. I'm just thinking
Okay.
about, like, just how janky, like, in general, like, modern games have gotten with, like, DLC and shit, like, where they, you know, like, the game's not really, like, there's more stuff they could do with the game, but they don't want to wait and delay it, so they release the game, and then, like, you know, a month down the line, some DLC comes out, like, for, you know, $10, we'll add, you know, this, and this, and it's like, well, why wasn't that already in the game?
Some DLC makes sense in that it's not really part of the core whatever, but for the most part, it's like, why wasn't this just in the core game? Why am I paying so much money for what is technically an unfinished game? And I realize, modern gaming allows you to do patch updates and whatnot, but if you're making me pay for it, that's not right.
No.
For something that probably should have been there in the first place.
I agree completely. It's very, like, WTF. Like, that's what I liked about, like Far Cry 3's DLC turned out to be an entirely new campaign. It was short, but it was an entirely new campaign that was in no way, like, something that they removed from the original game. It was stuff that had an entirely new look, feel, and whatnot to it. Mind you, I beat it on the hardest difficulty in, like, a weekend, but still, it was a lot of fun. It was worth, you know, getting it on Steam sale made it worthwhile.
DLC also should not cost as much as the actual game.
Unless it's big. Like,
unless it is in itself game and not just additional short stuff, then yeah. But it's a method that's for a while now, but it is becoming very commonplace, that's being abused.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's kind of like, I kind of wish that, this is going to be a really weird non sequitur, but it's like lately I got a whole bunch. With work we had a contest that I won. I got a iTunes gift card, and I was looking at audiobooks, and oddly enough, audiobooks are like have not come down in price like music has. Like I remember when you would like go on like iTunes and go to buy like an album and it would be like, $10, but now you can get like a lot of the big albums for, if you buy the digital copy, you get like, I'm buying, some of the techno I like from bigger groups for, $3-4 for an album, and it's like, damn. And I was curious what their audiobooks go for, because I want to get some fantasy novels on tape that I want to read, but I'm just way too lazy to read. I just don't have. I'm one of those people. I used to love to read, and I understand there's some people who still do, but for me, it's just too much work and it's too much time away from other constructive things I could be doing to be reading. And so I get stuff on audiobook so I can go do something and listen to the audiobook while I work. And the audiobooks are crazy expensive, like $20, like more than the book itself costs. And like I understand why, because it costs a lot of money to author and master something like that. But it's like I would kill for something like the Steam summer sale for audiobooks once in a while, because I can't stomach paying $20 for an audiobook when I can buy the book for $6.
Does Audible not have sales?
Maybe they do. I just don't know when they are.
I don't know about iTunes because I've never used it. But Audible might.
That's what iTunes uses. Like even on Audible, it's like $20 for a book on tape, and I'm just like, holy shit.
I realize books or audiobooks tend to be really long, and sometimes are not just one guy putting on voices and whatnot. But still, that sounds a bit. I haven't bought audiobooks in quite a while, so I don't know.
Let's see, what were their offers?
Can I not look at your stuff without signing in?
My stuff?
No, at Audible's.
I
don't seem to be able to look at their catalog without signing in. Oh, okay, I can. If I scroll all the way down, yeah, I can. Okay.
Or if it was one of those deals where you could let me take a look at their stuff, because I know iTunes basically uses Audible as their place to buy audio. When you buy audiobooks, you're actually buying from Audible. You're not buying from iTunes.
Yeah, that's almost $20 for. Well, I mean that book's 7 hours and 14 minutes, but.
So they make you a deal. You can, for $15 a month, you get one book, one audiobook. For $23 a month, you get 2 books. Or for the annual plan, for $150, they'll give you 12. Or for $24, or for $230, you get 24 books. But it's still like, I mean, so that's a good deal, because like what I was looking at was I wanted to get the Malorian, which is the sequel set of books to the Belgariad, because we wanted to listen to those all summer. They're like $25 a book, so it's like almost $100. I think it was like $125 for the set, and I'm like, I just don't want to spend that kind of money for audiobooks. Like if they were $10 a piece, then yeah, I would be cool with that, or even $15. I'm
surprised someone doesn't have like a streaming subscription service, like a Netflix for audiobooks.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. Like if I could like rent the book, like rent the audio for, I don't know, a week or something for $10.
Yeah.
Because I don't have to have. I mean, I want the MP3s, and I understand they're huge. Like the first book is 12 hours, the second book is 10 hours, the third book is 14 hours. Yeah, they're big. That's why there's so much money, because it's a lot of data.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like I'm not looking to spend a whole ton of money just so that I can listen to this stuff one time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know, like my friends are saying, they're like, like Michael, maybe you shouldn't be so cheap, and I'm like, but I don't want to spend that kind of money on an audiobook. I'm like, I'm.
It's not like I don't have the ability to read. Like, I have other options.
Like if I could get the whole set for $100, I would probably do it for like the books we want to read or we want to listen to. But I'm not. I can't justify spending that kind of money on audiobooks, which are something that legitimately I'm listening to in the car. So,
if there was a streaming subscription book service for audiobooks out there, I would probably have it.
well, even if their thing was like $15 a month and you get to listen to one book at a time. So, like, if you want to listen to something else, you got to give up the one you're listening to. It would still be worthwhile because, honestly, it would allow me. I would just turn it on my phone in the car with an auxiliary cord and just listen to books going back and forth to work every day for half an hour. Yeah, it would take me, it would take me a month to get through a book, but even at $15, that's not terrible if I'm going a book a month. It's as much as they cost to buy, so whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It's a weird thing to be anal about, but it's like I'm getting to that point where I don't want to spend a lot of money on media that I'm only going to use like one time and then never look at again.
Yeah.
Like, I know that's kind of hypocritical or whatever you want to call it, because I do that with anime. Like, a lot of the stuff I'll watch it one time, put it up on the shelf, and probably never bring it back down again. Well, I do, but only when other people want to watch it.
I think my Chrome is trying to crash because you went all white.
Hooray!
There you went. You came back. It's okay.
Hooray.
Not that you aren't already white.
I am pale like a ghost. I don't know. That's been my weird spiel this week, has just been that media costs way too much money for stuff that I honestly like don't want to do more than once. Like, it's getting to the point now that like if suddenly anime DVDs went sky high expensive, like they all went to the Aniplex America model where everything was like $80 a DVD, I would probably be interested in more interested in doing Crunchyroll Premium.
I do enjoy my Crunchyroll and my Netflix.
Yeah. Well, it's a good deal for you because you're like, you're not really like mentally stuck on the whole collecting it aspect.
I don't have that sort of thing. I don't have the room for it, as I've said before.
Yeah.
And we, have a lot of different things that can run it, so we can watch it all over the house and whatnot. So, hell, if I have an internet connection, I can watch it on my phone. So.
Well, that's what would be cool about like a streaming service for audiobooks. It's like theoretically anything with an internet connection, cellular or otherwise, could do it.
I mean, yeah, if I buy it, then I could put it on my phone. But if I could have access to a library, then I would pay a subscription fee for it. I would do that for like ebooks as well if that was a thing.
See,
I don't have a fucking lot of room for books in general. Like the books we've had to pare down our library so many times that we still have too many books. I have a storage unit full of fucking books.
I'm actually completely with you on that. Like, I was talking to my coworker about that. He was telling him that I wanted to read well, our friend Raid has been on my ass to read the other Belgariad books by the guy that wrote the Belgariad. And I'm like, well, I don't really want to, like, I could buy the books because the soft covers or the paperbacks are like $6. So I could buy all the books I haven't read for, like say $25 and sit down and read them. But I don't really care about having the books because I don't really want to keep them around once I've read them. It doesn't, like, they're just books. They're going to get stuffed in a box in my closet and that's where they're going to stay.
I mean, yeah, I could, give it to somebody else to read, but beyond my mother, most people I know either live too far away to do such a thing or don't tend to read the same sort of stuff I do. Like, Grieve and I are both big readers, but not of the same sort of stuff. So there's not a lot of back and forth in that sense.
Yeah.
Like,
So
occasionally she'll hand me something and I'll read it, and normally it's because she doesn't think I'll enjoy it. She wants my opinion on it. And if I give her something, it's because I think she'll enjoy it. Because I'm not generally looking for her opinion most of the time, because again, we don't read a lot of the same stuff, but sometimes there is some overlapping, like I think she might enjoy it, or might enjoy certain aspects of it, because it's close enough. But yeah, for the most part, there's not a lot of real book sharing going on. There's more talking about the book we read, and then, that's it. And yeah, I do reread books every now and then, but normally long after the fact. And I don't, I'm not nice to books. I don't have that feeling of being nice to books. I gotta hold on to things tight, and I don't give a fuck about cracking the spine. I think a worn book is a well-read book, but that doesn't have a long shelf life, so. I really prefer digital media because I can take it wherever I want, as long as I have something to read on it. And I can, if I'm having a bad day, I can increase the font size, because maybe I can't wear my glasses for whatever reason.
Well, that's what's so killer about ebooks, yeah.
Yeah. And Greaves at that stage where you don't quite need glasses, but you're almost there. I think that would be helpful for her. And for, anyone in general, because some font choices are just really poor.
Well,
like,
I mean,
how did that get out of the printing house, sort of thing?
Yeah. I mean, I would kill for something like a library card for an ebook reader, where you could go to the library and rent or borrow an ebook for 3 weeks that would then, after 3 weeks would disappear off your device.
Yeah.
Just be deleted automatically because you've had your chance to do it, and now it's, and there's no, and there would be no.
Or you can only view it through, the program or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah. Same for comic books, because comic books take up a lot of fucking space.
Yeah, I gave up on comic books
even waiting for, trade backs, that's still a lot of space. And if I could read that digitally, all the better, which is, again, one of the reasons why I like webcomics, because it's not taking up fucking space in my house.
You want to know something, Kiki? That's the main reason why I don't collect manga. It's just, I don't have anywhere to put it. I don't know what I would do with all that manga, because I have 3 foot or 4 foot, 4 foot long, 5 foot tall shelves, and one 5 foot or 6 foot wide, 8 foot tall shelf that are completely full. I am out of space, and I have an entire cart worth of anime. Where would I put that much manga on top of it? I'm getting to the point where I'm legitimately actually going to need a collection room soon, because I have enough that a small, an office-sized room with nothing but shelving along the walls and in the middle would probably be almost full.
I've got, 4 boxes of comics in my closet from back when we were buying them. I don't even like most of them, but we fucking have them.
Yeah.
And all they do is sit there.
Even if you don't like them, you're like, eh.
Well, because it's not just my collection; it's also the husband's collection.
Yeah.
Or it's what's left, really, because some have gotten lost over the years or gotten water damaged or whatever. But and some of the trade backs I have out in the living room. But yeah, a lot of it's why do I keep you? I'm not going to sell you. Comics don't really work like that anymore. None of you are old enough anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to bother to pull you out of the closet to reread you.
No.
Because that's just going to damage you, and
it sounds
I can't really reach that high anyway.
If there was a service like iTunes now, where I could scan, I'll say I don't know what you would do, the barcodes or the discs or whatever, and then have digital copies of everything I already own on DVDs available to out of a web library. where I could just like log in and watch something. I would probably do it just because if I'm gonna keep collecting. I'm one of those people. I'm just gonna keep collecting because I enjoy the physical media. But I'm at the point where literally I'm getting ready to, if anime keeps getting more expensive, I'm gonna move to all digital because it's just not worth spending the money anymore for what is legitimately easily available anywhere on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a weird thing to say.
I know a lot of that stuff we were talking about is you could buy it, but I would really prefer like a subscription service because at the same time I don't need to always have it on my computer or anything like that. I just need access to the content.
Yeah.
And if I could do that from a subscription service, I would, if I could afford it.
Yeah.
Be more than willing to pay it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I'm getting at. Like, and there's a whole bunch. I mean, the real reason why I collect anime is a lot of this stuff, after like the initial time that it's available, the licenses are short-lived. And very quickly, it stops being available. Like, you can't find it legally online. You can't get it legally offline. Like, you can't buy a copy because it's only licensed for a year and then it's gone. Everything is destroyed. Yeah. All the online content is gone. So the only way you're going to get it is if somebody kept a pirated copy around available on a torrent. And so it's like, fuck. And now there's a lot of stuff that I want to rewatch that isn't easily available, but it does happen, and it's kind of scary. Yeah. And I mean, eventually they do get back to, like 10 years down the line or 15 years down the line, once it's lost all valuable, or what's what I'm looking for, all value, it's so old that no one cares about it. Yeah, then it gets relicensed, but then at that point it's like, well, no one cares about it anymore because it's old. Like, fuck it.
Yeah.
I can't think of a good example of that, but there's a lot of stuff where it just didn't get relicensed because, initially the relicensing fee was so high that there was no value in keeping it around, but then 20 years later, no one cares about it anymore. So now it's some little company relicenses it for pennies on the dollar, and it's now available again.
Mm-hmm. I realize that internet is not as prevalent as we like to think it is in America because our infrastructure blows. But still, I feel like that's a market that somebody needs to look at. I realize that there's probably some sort of licensing issue there, but somebody has to be able to figure it out.
Well, and that's what happens. The reason why streaming anime and all that doesn't work is because the licensing for the crap is just ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Like if it's something that an American company itself produces, let's say like Warner Brothers or Viacom or Disney, then yeah, it's easy to stream because they'll have a streaming service available. Like that's starting to happen with Disney, where for I think it's like $20 a month, you can stream any Disney movie they've ever made. Mm-hmm. Like that's coming, supposedly, is what I've been told. And it makes sense.
I mean, streaming is becoming more and more of a thing because, one, space is becoming even more and more limited. Two, it's technically cheaper because you're getting access to a wide variety of things for one payment a month as opposed to trying to find what you were looking for among the massive pile of things for a price you probably aren't willing to pay. But I lost my point. My brain went zoom. But yeah, streaming is becoming, you can see that it's becoming more and more of a thing, which is, I suppose, good, but it's becoming more of we stream our own stuff. And that's not necessarily bad, but I do like the convenience of going on Netflix and finding like a wide variety of
stuff,
things from different productions. But Netflix often loses license and it's no longer on there, or it has a very limited catalog. Like, finding Cartoon Network stuff is annoying because normally, like, a show will be 5 seasons in, but there's only one fucking season on Netflix. Which is why people fucking pirate it. Because a lot of people are getting tired of regular television because it's more and more
junk.
Yeah, not only junk, but I realize you need advertising to survive, but maybe you should re-look over what sort of budgeting you're doing, because we're starting to get more ads than actual fucking show. When I can get better quality stuff from independent people on the internet. Why do I want to pay for your television?
It's always fun to explain to the cable company that the reason why our bandwidth usage is so high in our house is because legitimately I don't watch anything on TV.
Yeah. We don't normally watch stuff when it originally airs. I mean, we have it mostly for the moms because they like watching stuff, and occasionally I'll sit in the living room and watch stuff with them. But we use we use it mostly to DVR stuff and then watch it after the fact because it normally comes on at a time that just doesn't work for us. And I like the ability to say, you know, I know it's on at this time, but I don't have to watch it at this time.
Well, and I have a very like narrow interest set for like American television. Like the shows I like are far and few between. Like recently I started rewatching Beakman's World, which is like a kid's science show from the 90s. I like infotation, like fun informational shows, stuff like Good Eats, Mail Call, you know, stupid, just, you know, they're trying to show you something, but they're trying to make it fun at the same time, I don't really know. It's just, and there's not a lot of that on TV anymore. A lot of it is like, it's either a reality show or a drama or, you know, it's not stuff I want to watch. Like, I'm not into like dramas or reality shows or, you know, I don't watch Walking Dead, Mad Men. I mean, Game of Thrones is okay once in a while, but I'm not like live or die for it like a lot of people.
On that note, a lot more people, even though they're still consuming Western media, they're obviously not consuming it in the same way anymore with, you know, watching a bunch of episodes in a row, or watching parties where you watch a bunch of shit in a row.
Yeah.
Or even not watching in a row, just the ability to watch it on my time. Because we all have fucking lives, and life is very hectic right now, so, you know, lots of people work weird hours, or just in general are trying to do something else when this specific show they want is on. Which, you know, streaming or DVRs kind of alleviate that, because you're still getting their viewership, but on their terms.
Well, I mean, that's what...
It's not that I'm against ads. We need ads. It's just the way we're being presented them is old-fashioned.
Speaking of which, this is to all the cable companies out there. For the love of God, if I'm streaming something off your website, like, we have Comcast, and so, like, I started streaming Cosmos on Monday mornings after it aired, because it was easier to watch it Monday morning before work than it was to sit up and watch it on Sunday nights. And they'll ask you, like, do these commercials make sense to you? And I'm like, no, I don't want commercials about prostate medication. It doesn't apply to me. And so then they would start showing me other stuff. And there were always retarded commercials, like, it was like prostates or divorce lawyers or, like the other one was like jewelry for your wife. And I'm like, and every time I'd be like, these do not apply to me. And like, so finally the thing, like, the algorithm just got pissed at me and like just started showing me nothing but car commercials. Because I mean, they want to target, they do want to target advertising that actually applies to you. And I just said, like, none of these commercials, like the people, their advertisers were all shit I don't care about. Like, I would rather get commercials for like breakfast cereal than shit for like, you know, De Beers jewelry or like Viagra or Cialis. I'm like, that stuff does not apply to me. I don't care. And so getting that commercial like twice every 10 minutes means absolutely nothing to me. I'm just tuning it out. Like, advertise shit I care about. Like, I don't know, food, restaurants, grocery stores, you know, stuff like, and finally it did start showing me stuff I gave a crap about. Like, it would start advertising, like, I don't know, McDonald's, which isn't great, but at least it applies to something that I might buy from. Like, I'm not going to go to a jewelry store. I don't give a fuck about medication. It was always something stupid. Like, for a while, like, I would... And they're initially, the commercials that come up with each show are based off of the age group that's watching it. So, like, I was watching, like, Modern Marvels, and so that's usually older guys. So I was getting, like, prostate medication, arthritis medication, like Bengay, all this stuff that would be applied to like older adults. And I'm like, none of this applies to me. And then it was like, okay, well then the next most popular group are like women in their 40s. And so I started getting like menopause commercials and like Midol and shit. I'm like, no, I'm young. I want commercials for like, I don't give a fuck, Burger King, Taco Bell, McDonald's, hell, I'll even take the occasional, like, progressive insurance commercial. Just, like, anything other than shit for adults, like, old adults. Like, I don't care about medication for old people diseases or, stuff to help with, like, your teeth falling out or, your dentures falling out or, like, it was all stuff for, like senior citizens. And I'm like, this stuff does not apply to me. And, like, the algorithm was getting pissed at me because, like, every commercial it showed me would ask me, is this commercial relevant? And I'm like, no. And so, like, entire hours worth of material, I would tell it that all the commercials were bad. And it would just be like, what do you want from me? These are the commercials that most people want to see. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I want commercials for stuff that actually apply to me, like breakfast cereal and restaurants and Walmart or Target or just, stuff that I'm actually going to go to and buy stuff from, not just random commercials for old people. Kiki's trying not to laugh.
Well, I don't know. Bengay would apply to me, but
yeah. Well, I mean,
to be fair, you don't really have to advertise Bengay to me. I'm going to buy it.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a what's the word I'm looking for? It's a not contained audience. It's a captive audience. If you need it, you're probably gonna buy it. It's not like you're gonna pick. I don't even know what their competitors are, but I'm like, it's a household name type.
Whatever the generic store brand is,
Yeah.
which admittedly I do buy the Equate brand, which is the Walmart brand, but that's because it's cheaper and I find that it works just the fucking same.
Stay tuned for part 3. Welcome to part 3 of episode 52 of the Super Happy Fun Dabatron Tea Party.
Well, if FDA requirements say that basically the actual active ingredient has to be exactly the same, it's just the fillers and stuff that are different.
Well, you know what? The fillers don't hurt my skin, so it's fine with me.
Yep.
Yep.
Well, it's like we buy the generic cortisone cream because honestly, I don't remember what the brand name is, but it's not worth the extra $4 for a tube because it's just cortisone cream. It's like, yes, like the fillers are higher, like the stuff that make it creamy or whatever are higher quality in the brand name, but it's like it's something I rub on itchy parts of my body.
Now, obviously there are a lot of things that I buy the brand name for, but that's more because either I do find the brand name better than like a generic brand. Because
Pop-Tarts.
some like generic like lotions or things involving the skin use a lot of cheap perfumes, and my skin can't handle that. So
Yeah.
I have to buy the brand because they don't use those kinds of fillers.
Like, don't laugh, but over the winter when I had really dry feet, I bought Vaseline brand lotion. And my dad was like, my mom was like, Vaseline brand lotion, what are you gonna go do, jerk off? I'm like, yes. That's all, just, yes. Because I thought it was funny. Because it's Vaseline brand lotion. But apparently, other than like, Utter Balm cream, it was like it was the most recommended thing for people with dry feet because it like dries quickly and it's got a high like moisturizing index. It's Vaseline brand, like it's a brand name. It's men's Vaseline brand body lotion. It comes in a big ass, generic bottle, and I tried the other stuff, but it kept your feet like gooey,
slippery.
Too long. Yeah.
That's normally why I go with like at least known name, known, not known.
Yeah.
The words, a known name when it comes to like lotions and stuff. I tend to go like cheaper on like shampoos and conditioners. So I don't tend to have a problem. I don't really have problem hair.
No, it's skin.
Yeah. And a lot of my skin issues are more like I can't handle certain things unless like a thing is going to solve it, because my acne doesn't come from a skin issue, it comes from a hormone issue, and no off the counter lotion is going to fix that.
No. But it's like,
if anything, like acne products make it worse.
Well, it's like I buy the generic tar oil shampoo for my dandruff because, like, honestly, it's tar oil. It doesn't matter who makes it. It could be, Neutrogena T-Gel. It could be, I can't remember what the other big brand is. I just bought the generic Walmart brand because, honestly, it's tar oil. It doesn't matter.
I realize when we buy like Walmart brand stuff, we're buying into the whole globalization issue of slave labor in other countries and whatnot. But at the same time, we're also part of the oppression because we don't really have choices otherwise, because the big name brands are too expensive or have shit in them we don't really need. So, it's like I kind of gotta buy the store brand, and unless somebody out there comes out with a cheap, wildly sold version that I can actually use of something that doesn't buy into the globalization conspiracy complex, then I'm going to continue to shop at Walmart because I have to.
Let's put it this way. I can buy the Walmart brand Prilosec for $16 for a big box, or I can spend $35 and get the actual Prilosec brand name Prilosec. Like, I'm using their actual brand name. It's Omeprazole or whatever, but like if I buy the generic Walmart brand, it's $16 for 42 pills. If I buy theirs, it's like $30. It's like, I wonder which one I'm going to go with.
A lot of my like over-the-counter pills and stuff are the Walmart brand Equate, and that's really the only thing keeping me out of the emergency room right now, because it just takes enough off to live through the day. And if Walmart wasn't there, I don't know what I would do, because the regular prices are
exorbitant,
so outside the realm of reason for me. But yeah, if I had a doctor, I could get better assistance, but that's another part of the issue. I don't have a doctor because my fucking application, because the system is so screwed, is still pending. And from what I've heard, I probably won't hear anything about it until the end of the year.
Yeah, they'll clear all the pending stuff right at the end when their fiscal year ends.
Which, I think I'm safe based on when I put the application in, but I might not be, so which means I might be on the hook for all of my medical debt, which means I will still probably never see a doctor, because even though they're not supposed to, they're going to continuously hound me about it, and possibly even refuse me service, unless I'm dying.
Yeah.
Because I dared to be sick without insurance because I couldn't afford insurance. It's like, yeah, the emergency room will see me. That will just increase my debt more and more, and I will never be able to get preventative care.
So anyway.
Yeah. We've been talking for 2 hours, because I remembered to put a timer.
Hooray! Yeah, I feel
on that sad note, I suppose we'll stop there. So,
I had an additional thought, but now I don't know what it was.
Think really hard.
Yeah. Surprisingly, generic Pop-Tarts are really bad. Like, they're one of the few things where I'm like, yeah, buy the brand name.
Yeah, we tend to buy brand name Pop-Tarts.
Yeah, we
it's
tried.
A lack of. It's kind of like eating cardboard.
Like I'm not saying that like real Pop-Tarts are good, but they're better than the generic Walmart Pop-Tarts, which is scary. Because like when generic Pop-Tarts are so bad that you're like My mom and I, well, my dad complained that regular Pop-Tarts cost too much money and we should start eating generic if both she and I are gonna be having Pop-Tarts every morning. This is like 6 months ago. And so I bought a case of cinnamon. I bought a 6-pack, a half-size box of cinnamon brown sugar, and then a thing of cherry. I think it was cherry or strawberry. One of the big like main like red Pop-Tart flavors, like the Pop-Tarts you think of when you think of Pop-Tarts. I think it's cherry. I don't remember. It might be strawberry. But so I bought one of each, and they were so bad. Same morning, my mom had one package of the brown ones. I had a package of the red ones, and we each had one and threw the other one away, and then basically threw the generic ones away once we bought more Kellogg's or whoever owns like Pop-Tart brand Pop-Tarts, because it was just like, these are terrible. It's like spaghetti sauce is like bad if you get the generic, but like the good spaghetti sauce isn't even that much more expensive. Like we like Newman's Own, which is like $3 a jar, and the generic like Walmart is like $2.50. So it's like 50 cents difference to just buy the stuff that actually tastes good.
Kellogg's owns Pop-Tarts.
Kellogg's, okay.
Yeah, we buy Hunt's. There's a Hunt's canning facility in the city, so Hunt's is actually the cheapest, almost. Normally, like occasionally not, but normally the cheapest pasta spaghetti sauce, and it tastes pretty good, so that's normally what we go for.
Well, it's like any of the Hormel products for us are dirt cheap, because Hormel is based out of Austin, Minnesota, which is like, it's like a 3-hour drive from where I live in the Twin Cities, but it's so close that all the Hormel products are dirt cheap. In case you didn't know, that's like Dinty Moore. I can't remember. Like, they do a whole bunch of like canned soups, Dinty Moore stew, and obviously Spam, just because Spam, and I think I can buy the big giant cans of like Dinty Moore stew for like $5 when they're like 10 or 15 everywhere else. Like the big industrial size, like, wow, big. And we used to laugh about that until we realized, like, could never understand. And then we realized how close the actual home office is to us. It's just like, holy shit! No wonder everything's so cheap. They're based out of Minnesota.
There's probably a couple listeners going, why don't you just go to a fucking farmer's market? But I know my city has one, and the surrounding cities do, but one, normally not cheaper, because self-canning and trying to sell it is actually an expensive process.
Yeah.
And it's only like 2 weeks ever locally.
Yeah, see,
and
ours are all summer.
Yeah, it's normally at a time where a lot of people are at work. So it's really geared at like suburban house moms.
Yeah.
And so it's not any benefit for working class or poverty.
If we really wanted to get back to cheap food or cheap produce, this is gonna sound terrible. We should go back to seasonality. I.e.,
where only certain things are available because they're
when stuff is in season where you get it. When it's not, you don't, and you deal with it. And it would suck for people, because that would basically mean that all winter, for most of us who live up here in the in the frozen waste, would have to deal with like root vegetables all winter, because fucking fruit and vegetables, like what we think of as like the big vegetables, are not fucking in season when it's cold.
Yeah. I mean, I do have the benefit that this is technically a farm town, and the farms in the areas are mostly produce farms.
Yeah.
So certain things during the specific times of the year are really fucking cheap. But the other times of the year they're not. And then sometimes a farm gets bought out by a corporation, and the price is no longer nice.
Well, because they're probably not even shipping locally. Yeah. They're going national.
Yeah. Because they're really not a local supplier anymore. They're having to ship out to a different city, and then we're likely getting stuff from a different state.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If your grocery stores are doing their jobs right, when stuff is in season, you should be getting it local. But it doesn't always work that way. Like, actually, our Walmart is good about that. Like, when, like, apples and stuff are in season around here, we do get local apples. We don't get, like, apples from Washington. Because it doesn't make sense. Like, from a supplier point of view, it's cheaper to get local shit than it is to still get it shipped in from, you know, Walla Walla, Washington. But then you also get shit like in January where the fucking watermelons are coming from, like, Australia, and it's like, yeah, this is silly. There just shouldn't be watermelons right now.
It is wonderful around here when the watermelons are in season, because there's a watermelon farm. I want to say on the way out to Willows. I'm not sure. So there's obviously the big fancy designer watermelons, but I want to say Food for Less is normally the one who gets them. We'll just have for like 2 weeks a massive stockpile of just giant fucking watermelons for super cheap, because they barely had to go anywhere.
Yeah, no. It's just, yeah, the whole system in our country is fucked because it's very like short-term shit. Like, if there's a break in the supply chain anywhere, all of a sudden the whole thing comes grinding to a halt very quickly.
And, you know, a lot of people are like, just eat healthy, but healthy is not simply only eat these kind of things, because you have to take into account what the person has access to and can eat because of dietary issues, be it because of disease they have, because of medication they have to take. Certain things are off limits.
Well, some of that's just a cop-out from the way our society works.
Well, yeah.
Everybody talks about that, but the reality is there is a certain amount of people copping out that they don't want to make the changes. I'm not saying you specifically. I'm saying, like, you get people who go, well, I can't help, but I'm working all the time and I can't find a way to do it. It's like, don't give me that fucking shit that you can't find a way. You can find a way if you want to. People don't want to because it's hard, and nobody wants to be, you know.
But a lot of the healthy image stuff is, like, not really stuff that is actually healthy. It's like, yeah, a lot of cooking at home is probably a bit healthier, but the stuff you're asking to make is not, like, logical in some areas or healthy for everyone or even all that healthy to begin with. It's almost just as bad as going to a restaurant. It just looks healthy, so you're deeming it healthy.
Like,
and you're also saying it doesn't take that long, but if I have to spend 2 hours on dinner, no. Dinner should not take that long. What the hell are you doing that dinner takes 2 hours?
Well, you're not getting it prepped done ahead of time. That's what's happening.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of cutting time is buying stuff pre-prepped or partially pre-prepped.
Yeah.
And if it takes you longer than that after the fact, you're either doing something wrong or you are trying to fancify it beyond necessary.
I don't want anyone
to
ever
have a
tell
goddamn
me that
healthy meal.
A good dinner takes longer than an hour, because you can. My mom routinely would come home, even now, comes home from work like 4 o'clock and knocks something out in half an hour that is legit, like, real dinner. Not like she threw some crap in a bowl or in a pot and boiled it for half an hour. Like, she made she's off right now, so obviously stuff got a little more extravagant, but like she made like chipped beef and gravy with mushrooms, and she knocked that out in like 45 minutes. And yeah, so she used canned mushrooms, but honestly, no one's gonna know the difference since they were basically basting in a roux, so
yeah.
No,
you didn't make it from scratch. Well, fuck you.
No, she really did make it from scratch. I mean, like, growing your own mushrooms is going a little far with the whole, you didn't do it from scratch, because, okay, legitimately, unless you're making a salad, like, fresh mushrooms are, there's actually not that big of a difference in price if you actually look at, like, per pound, or per ounce, the weight, like, cost per ounce. Canned versus fresh is, like, it's 5 cents an ounce more to get it fresh, and unless you're doing something like where you're not cooking them, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I would rather have a can that can sit in the cabinet for at least a year than something that I'm not going to actually cook and might only use for a salad that will probably die in my fridge rather quickly.
Yeah. Well, it's all dependent on how fast you're eating the food, too. I mean, don't buy fresh stuff that you're not going to use immediately and eat in the next 4 or 5 days. That's just common sense. Well, not common sense. It's just good sense to be like, you know, like my dad keeps buying the gallon jugs or was buying the gallon jugs of orange juice. And I'm like, Dad, I don't like orange juice that much. Like, I don't want, we drink like a quarter of it and the rest of it would go in the drain a month and a half later because, nobody. Well, fucking juice is a ridiculous calorie load. I mean, seriously, like I know that's terrible because everybody's like, "Oh, fresh juice, good for you." I'm like, dude, a glass of orange juice is as much as a fucking can of pop. Like, it's better for you than pop by a long shot, but still, that's a lot of fucking sugar. And I'm a fat ass, so well, I'm just being honest. I mean. I don't like if I have a big glass of juice, I'm looking at 300-400 calories. It's like, holy crap, that's a couple things of hash browns or a waffle. Like, I know it's really bad, but when you gotta like think about calorie intake, all of a sudden you're like, well, fuck, it's good for you, but at the same time it's like, shit, maybe I should just have an orange, because at least then I'm getting some fiber.
For me, I drink a lot of juice because I want the calories, really, because I still have days where my diet is almost nothing but liquid.
Well, it's like today I was doing really good. I had a turkey and cheese sandwich for lunch with some Chex Mix and a thing of water, but then, like, I missed dinner because we had to... Trooper wants something, I would say. We had to pick my aunt and uncle up from the airport, and so my parents were out doing that, and I fell asleep and woke up, and it was like, I'll say 7 o'clock, and I'm like, well, shit, I should get some dinner. And I drove around, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have some Arby's. So I go to Arby's, and I get, like, the King Kaluahula Hawaiian roast beef sandwich combo, and I'm like, oh, that sounds good. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get some chicken nuggets. All of a sudden, now I got a whole pile of curly fries and like 5 chicken strips and then like this big sandwich. And I'm like, well, that's 2,500 calories. Fuck. Didn't feel like it. It tasted great, and I didn't feel like I was eating a lot. But then I like looked at the calories, and I'm like, well, I just had 500 grams of fat and 2,500 calories. So there goes my entire day. I just shit the bed.
Poor Cupcake. He's drinking his bottle of fancy water very fancily with his upturned pinky.
It's not fancy. This is Clear American, which is
it's flavored sparkling water.
It's Walmart.
I know, but that's fancy water. Fancy water I wish I could still drink. Because that shit is good.
I shouldn't even be drinking this, but I can't. I'm trying to get on straight water, but I'm weak, okay? I'm weak. I can't just drink water. It's not... That's not how I want to live my life. Like, I know my dentist keeps telling me I'm rotting my teeth out of my head, and I understand that, but I cannot live. I don't know how people live on just, like, drinking water. I'm like, oh, my God, I've got to have something, anything. A little bit of, Kool-Aid powder or lemonade or something. I can't just drink straight water all the time. Excuse me. That's dinner coming back up.
The last thing I ate was lunch, so if I can keep that down, all the better. I might have some toast in a bit.
Well, if you vomit that up now, something is seriously wrong, because if we're talking like lunch, like noon lunch, that should be almost all the way through your entire system. So if you're vomiting that back up, holy shit.
Yeah. Well, I could be trying to throw, like, tea or something. Because sometimes it's because I ate something that apparently I wasn't aware of but shouldn't. But other times it's just the pain causes a nausea reaction and I end up throwing up. Which causes more pain, and it's a vicious cycle.
No, I hear ya.
Yeah. And sometimes I'm just gassy. Because my diet is terrible. But you know what? Yeah. Whatever the fuck I can get in my face, that'll stay there.
Well, you're at the point where your diet is inconsequential as long as you're keeping the food down.
Yeah. Which I've been doing a lot better at, but some days it's still, out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Which because of that, our kitchen has become rather limited because the mom's diets were kind of limited because they can't have like vitamin K or cranberries and stuff like that. The heart medications they take.
Yeah, blood thinners. Yeah.
Yeah.
You said vitamin K. I'm going, they must be on blood thinners.
Yeah, because they've both had heart attacks, and my mom had major heart surgery, so they got to stay on top of that. And hubby's been paring down his diet so that he can lose weight. And then I, in general, can't eat much.
If you can believe it, I don't know about your husband, but what I went through, and I'm going through again because basically I got lazy, is portion size is the biggest thing for a lot of Americans. Like, it's not what you're eating. Like, it really doesn't matter what you eat. Like, obviously all fast food or all junk food isn't good for you, but it's the fact that, like, we'll sit down, like, Americans in general will just sit down and down, like, an entire family-sized bag of Doritos or potato chips. Or they'll go to, or, like, I have my coworker and I both go to KFC. I get a three-piece strip meal with wedges and a Diet Coke, which isn't great, but it's still only like 800 calories. He comes back, he's got a pot pie, a chicken sandwich, a chicken and thigh combo with coleslaw and potatoes and then a couple biscuits, cookies, and a large regular drink. And I'm like, dude, I don't say nothing, but one day he was talking to me, he's like, I don't know how you eat so little. I'm like, dude, I don't know how you eat so much. Like, I used to be like that. I did. Like, and I'm not shitting on people who eat a lot. Like, it happens. I understand there's shit going on, but at the same time, I looked at it, I'm like, I didn't want to be that dude, but I was like, dude, you ever think about maybe you might want to, like, try to find, like, one thing you really like and just try to enjoy it? Like, that's not healthy. It goes beyond just bad eating to being psychologically unsound. Something isn't right there. And I had a coworker that used to double fist cans of soda, and I'm like, dude, that is not good for you. Like, and I'm not, you're an adult, you make the decisions you want to make. But, like, at the same time, do you want to live past 35? Because you seem like you don't want to. Like, that's a good way to be in an early grave. That's hard on your pancreas. It's hard on your heart. It's hard on your teeth, which doesn't seem like a big deal, but losing your teeth when you're in your 30s is probably the worst way to, like, to have to deal with anything. Like, heart attacks will kill you. Having diabetes in your 30s is bullshit. Like, that's not something you want to do. But take my word on this, you don't want to lose your teeth. Like, people don't think about that, like, very heavily, but having to have dentures when you're in your 40s is really, really a whole lot of bullshit. You don't want to have to go down. Like, I know that's kind of a dark thing to say, and I'm probably coming off really mean-spirited, but as a guy who's got about 25 grand worked into his teeth just from basically not taking care of them when he was a teenager, you don't want to be me. It's not fun. I'm staring down crowns when I'm 30, which is better than what I could be staring down, but I certainly don't want to have my teeth replaced. Like, I'm going to have the tops of a couple of my teeth crowned, because literally, even though I'm trying to take care of them, and I'm not great at it, I admit, I don't floss nearly enough, my teeth are coming apart because I fucking drank too much soda and didn't fucking brush enough when I was a teenager, and now I'm literally losing my teeth. No matter how hard I try, eventually I'm going to have to deal with the fact that these things are coming out because I can't stop the decay. They're just slowly disintegrating little by little. And it's because I ate like shit when I was a teenager and didn't take care of my teeth. And and I don't want to, like, I got little, like, cousins and shit, and I don't want to scare them, but I've told them straight up, I'm like, don't be me. Brush your teeth. Take care of yourself, Try to eat good. Don't, I didn't take care of my body. I'm massively overweight for where I should be, and I'm trying to fix it, but I got bad habits, and I know I have bad habits, and I'm trying to fix them, but I'm weak, You know, it's like I should have just got the sandwich today, but I was like, I hadn't eaten since noon. It was like 8 o'clock in the evening, and I was like, oh, that sounds good, and that sounds good, and that sounds good, and all of a sudden I have way more food than I should have, and it tastes good. It certainly doesn't stop me from eating every last bite of it. And then I look at the bag and I go, God damn it, what the fuck was I thinking? And I spend the rest of the night beating myself up mentally because I'm like, I should have fucking had better self-control than that.
Heavy's diet was more of an issue of snacking. Constant snacking.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah. And, well, yeah, and too much soda drinking. So there's far less soda in the house. And there's less variety in snacks now. But that's also an issue of finances.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, our food in the house is a mixture of what can we eat and what can we afford to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he wants me to open the door. Alright, so you can yell at me in 5 minutes to come back in?
It's just
Okay, so now we're at 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Sorry.
It's okay. We were going somewhere. It's all good.
You got me on a rant, and then I have a hard time stopping the freight train once it gets out of the station. Train of thought and all that. Well, fucking train left the station with me holding my thoughts. Yeah, no, I mean, I feel you. That was one of the big things I went through 2 years ago when I got on this whole trying to, get my weight down, was that the whole, like, eating every couple hours. Well, not eating every couple hours, but eating every couple hours and eating a lot every couple hours really started to catch up with me. Like, it's not that I was snacking every couple hours, it was that I was snacking a lot. Like, like half a stack of saltine crackers with peanut butter, which doesn't seem like, it's a healthy snack, but it's what was that? Oh, that was a Grieve. Oh, hi, Grieve. La 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 la.
My headphones!
Great, now she can't hear me. Kiki's a cunt. Yeah, that's right. I said it. What a massive bitch.
Say hi, Grieve. Hi!
Howdy.
Hi, sweetheart. Ooh, I have to go have dinner and go to sleep. Alright, have fun. Bye.
What
Bye.
just happened? Did she, like, come say hi and then leave?
She was giving me her cat leash.
Oh.
I'm gonna try to take Trooper outside. No, she's going to San Fran tomorrow, so she needs to get some sleep.
That's a good reason to get sleep.
Yeah, they're gonna go to the Pride Parade.
Hooray! Pride Parade.
So yeah, that was Grieve for like 2 seconds. She's busy
but
trying
yeah,
to put her
no,
life
being
back
healthy
together.
is hard. Like, I don't know how people, like, stay thin, because I just constantly want to eat all the time.
Well, that being said, not just because you're thin doesn't mean you're healthy. Because I realize overweightness is a health issue, but you look at some people and you assume they're healthy, and in reality they're actually fucking fine health-wise.
Yeah.
Because we have a perception of what a healthy person looks like, and it's often not somebody who's actually healthy.
But generally,
or even an attainable body for most people.
Mm-hmm. But generally, thin people do live longer, unfortunately.
Yeah.
There's not many fat 90-year-olds.
Mm.
But it's just one of those things. Being healthy is hard. Like, my thing is not that, like, alright, I don't eat good just because I'm lazy. Like, legit, like, when my parents aren't involved in my nutrition, I just eat like shit. It's just, our office is right next to a giant dollar store. Like, down the block is one of those big like El Cheapo like convenience store, dollar store, like Quickie Mart, like super conglomerate type places.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of know what I'm talking about, where like they got the freezer case full of like pizza rolls and frozen egg rolls and shit. Yeah, so that's what I do for lunch a lot, because it's like a block down the road, and I'm lazy, and it's cheap, and it's terrible for me. Like, it causes me to break out and all this shit, but I'm still just like, it's so cheap and so fast. You know, we got like the big industrial microwave at work, so I just like I'll throw like some taquitos, an egg roll, and like some pizza rolls in the microwave and like heat them up, and it's like, 700 calories, and it's like, that's good, I'm under 1,000, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, this is fucking just slowly killing me, but it's fast and it's cheap and it tastes good. And honestly, I could probably eat better, but I don't know what happened. Like, for a while there, I had good self-control, and I had good, whatever you want to call it, good practice. And then I just kind of got lazy, and now it's just like, I could eat healthy, or I could eat a ton of crap and just be like, nom nom, delicious.
Well, yeah, but for a lot of people, eating supposed healthily isn't even an option, because they just plain cannot afford it. If they want to feed not only themselves but their family, they gotta buy that junk, because something's gotta go in the stomach.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And that's because a lot of people don't make a living wage.
No.
And have more than themselves to feed, and that's one of the bigger issues. Because health is not simply what you eat, it's what you have access to and what you can afford. Because a lot of people have to only get to buy food like once a month, and it's gotta be something that could survive in the house probably even longer than that month. And that means almost nothing fresh. Lots of heavily produced shit.
That's a popular misconception, that you have to eat fresh produce to eat healthy. I mean, you can eat healthy eating boxed shit. It's just that nobody wants to fess up to that fact.
Yeah. Well, some boxed shit is terrible, but at the same time, some people can't afford boxed shit, or the boxes they can, or the shit ones. But yeah, it's both. It's a lot of different things that are not simply fixed by buying fresh produce, because that diminishes, or not diminishes, but that doesn't take into account the bigger social economic issue that is America.
It's completely possible to eat healthy on welfare, because one of my good friends was on welfare for like a year and a half, and ate healthier than I've ever seen her eat in the entire time that I've known her. Mostly because she had to make good, conscious decisions about what she was going to eat.
Yeah.
And she did it. I was shocked. I didn't think it was possible to do so. On a fucking unemployment check, she ate like twice as healthy as I do, and the food was way better looking than the shit I was sticking in my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And I fully agree that the stuff that tastes really good, it's super cheap, but it's terrible for you. Frozen. Like in my case, for lunch, I'm having frozen taquitos, frozen egg rolls, frozen pizza rolls. These are not good for me, but they're cheap and they taste good and they're fast. I should be eating salads. I should be eating, honestly, for the same amount, for a little bit more than what I'm spending right now, I could be getting a sandwich from the deli that was twice as good as what I'm eating, probably healthier, and without the dressing, probably twice as healthy. But I'm just like, but then I'd have to wait 20 minutes, and that would only leave me 10 minutes for my break, and I just get this, it's fast. Like, my problem isn't a matter of money. I mean, it kind of is, but not normally. Usually it's just a matter of convenience and speed. I could be making my own sandwiches and probably saving a shit ton of money and eating healthy, but it's like, that would take work, and I'm lazy, so fuck that. I mean, it's why I have donuts in the morning instead of something healthy like a bowl of cereal, because I can grab donuts at the gas station on the way into work, shove them in my mouth, and keep driving, whereas like a bowl of cereal, or I don't know, something more healthy like, I don't know, granola would require me to actually like stop and eat and like do stuff. And I could get up earlier and I could do it, but I'm lazy. Like, I want to sleep that extra half an hour, get up, go to work, and just like stuff 2 donuts in my mouth with like a cup of coffee. And my doctor even told me that. He's like, Mike, you gotta stop. You're slowly killing yourself. You're gonna have a heart attack at 30. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, Doc, I'm suffering the same thing every working American is. I don't have enough time to eat healthy. He's like, that's bullshit. You could do it if you want to. You just don't want to. I'm like, yeah, shut up. It's the same. It's the whole philosophy my dad lives off of, which is like, if you want to quit something, you can. If you want to do something, you can, but you have to be willing to do it, and most people aren't willing to.
Yeah. Well, life sucks, so might as well enjoy it.
Unless you're like you and I,
Yeah.
and crippled as shit and fucking
Like,
suffering from all kinds of weird maladies, so you're just constantly in pain.
yeah.
Wow, that wasn't dark at all. Anyway,
God.
as much as I hate to admit it, you and I are more alike than I would care to admit. We both have our issues. Mine are
Well,
less severe, mostly because I have access to medical care.
I consume a generous amount of sugar. I don't anymore because we can't afford to buy those things anymore. But I was there for a while for a mixture of stress relief / sugar would stay on my stomach.
Yeah, sugary
Yeah.
things are pretty easy on the stomach, surprisingly enough.
Yeah, because especially when it all started, I was dealing with a funeral
Yeah.
and moving, so I was stress eating, and then, I cut out sugary stuff to try to alleviate that, and that actually did help. But then I got really, really, really sick, could barely eat anything, so I was shoving sugar in my face just to get something on my stomach.
Yeah.
And well, my issue is more that I'm not losing weight in a healthy way.
No.
So more than I'm
Aren't you like
overweight.
yo-yoing? Like you go way down, then come
I'm
way...
yo-yoing less because the vomiting is less,
Yeah.
but any weight I lose is because I'm not eating enough
well,
and
yeah.
not because I've been active. Like, I'm trying to be active as much as I can, like I take little walks around the house, but that's really it.
Well, and there's nothing
I mean, I've got weights on my arm, and I do, like, little chair exercises, but yeah. It's more me just trying to keep my body active.
Well, yeah, you don't want your muscles to atrophy to the point where you're having trouble walking. I mean, I know that's not a problem yet, but that can be later.
Yeah.
But no, I was gonna say, people don't want to believe it, but, I lost the majority of my original weight, which I've gained 10 pounds of it back, but I'm working on it. I lost the majority of my weight just, eating way healthier. And when I say way healthier, I don't mean, I was eating salads. I mean, when I went to McDonald's, instead of getting a double quarter pounder and then supersizing it and getting a 10-piece chicken McNugget, I got a double cheeseburger and, a double cheeseburger meal and switched from regular cola to diet cola and then, got a 4-piece chicken nugget. And just, because I was eating so much, that changed. I dropped 10 pounds in a month. It just fell right off.
Mm-hmm.
Because all of a sudden my intake went from 4,000 calories a day to 2,500. Then from that went to 1,800, which is where I try to stay, but it's just lately it's been, I think, stress mostly. I've just been well, and then today I fucked up because I thought I was getting a 5-piece chicken nugget, and I was actually getting a 5-piece chicken strip, which doesn't seem like that should be a big difference, but we're talking chicken nuggets are maybe a square inch, whereas a chicken strip is a lot bigger, and so it's what would have been we'll say 200 calories for 5 of them was 700 because they're big and they're deep fried. Well, chicken nuggets are too, but you get where I'm coming from with this. It's a portion size thing. And then the girl goes, "Oh, well, no, we have a 3 strip as well." And I'm like, I thought we were talking chicken nuggets. So I'm like, I don't want 3 chicken nuggets. I'll get the 5. And then I'm like, oh, these are strips. Oh, shit. And then the sandwich was huge. And I'm just I feel bad because I've been trying really hard the last couple of weeks to get back on, back on a healthy diet. But I just, I keep falling off really bad. Last night, my grandpa. I'm at my grandparents' house a lot the last couple of days with my. They're staying. That's where my uncle and aunt are staying from Albuquerque, and he's like, I'm gonna go to Taco Bell. You want anything? I'm like, well, get me a burrito supreme, a meat and potato burrito, and a taco. And it doesn't seem like a lot of calories, but that's like 1,500. Like 2 burritos and a taco. It's like, shit! I just, like, screwed the pooch. I didn't even mean to. And it's just kind of like, I should have gotten, like, 2 tacos, and that would have been, like, 400 or 500 calories, and that would have been fine. But I'm like, I'm hungry. I haven't eaten since, like, 11, so I'll get a bunch of things instead of just, like, 1 or 2 things, and just shoot myself in the foot. I don't know.
That's the way it goes. Well, I should probably try to eat something. I wonder if we still have yogurt.
Maybe?
Yogurt. Yogurt and granola.
I don't think I have any yogurt right now, but I might have to go get some. Like, I've been craving fruity Hawaiian drinks, but I don't want the calories from alcohol. So, yeah. Eating healthy is hard for many varied reasons, some of which are mental, some of which are financial, and some of which are just, fuck you, society is out to make you fat, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
I also like the talk that, God, what is it? What did I hear? That, like, men are being exposed to more progesterone, I want to say, like, than they used to be. Like, something that's getting used in food is making men fat.
Why would they use progesterone? I get.
Well, it's a side effect of, I think it's like eating soy.
Soy and I do not get along.
You and a lot of things don't get along. Let's be dead honest.
To be fair, soy and I didn't really get along beforehand because, like, I don't enjoy the taste of soy in general, but even more so if it's, like, heavily in a product, it will just come the fuck up. Which means I'm probably not going to be going on a vegan diet anytime soon.
But Kiki, vegan is so healthy.
Unless you're allergic to most of the products they use.
That's just your body rejecting the delicious, delicious healthiness.
I do like nuts still.
Well, what woman doesn't like nuts?
Except for that, they can be really expensive. Okay. So since are we done with our downer note?
I think so, maybe.
Okay. So why don't we just end it here? Because all of our audiences shot themselves.
Okay. Yeah, they're like, you guys are so depressing. Boom, boom, boom. Everyone is dead.
And we're almost at 3 hours, and future Kiki is going to be really pissed at me.
Well, you can just take the parts you think are best and throw the rest away.
Thank you once again for listening to this fun-filled episode of the Super Happy Fun Jabbertron Tea Party with Kiki and Bones. Farewell, my fellow internet beings.
So, I suppose good night, Bones.
Good night, Kiki.
I will stop the recording.
Hooray, we are the most depressing people in the world.